dunia weh. Buah!
Let's go for it, Maria.
Yang menang belanja kereta. Ya.
White team, blue team, 2 minutes. 2 balloons, 2 lights.
Okay.
Take your time. Let's go.
Welcome to the new age! Booyah!
Let's go for it.
Yang menang belanja kereta. Ya.
White team, blue team, 2 minutes. 2 balloons, 2 lights.
Okay.
Take your time. Let's go.
Welcome to the new age! Booyah!
Let's go for fire.
Yang menang belanja kertas. Ya.
Ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year, and it is time for a new league for Free Fire. This is the Free Fire Challengers Malaysia, and of course, the two of us will bring you guys the action of the opening day. My name is Sasuke, and alongside the one and only, the unique, the special, the always handsome Mustachio AJ.
It's very kind of you, man. Thank you so much for your kind words. I'm excited for today. Husky, I'm excited to see, exactly who has jumped ship from one team to another. I'm excited to see exactly which one of these brands are going to go out there and put their dominant foot down and see if or not they can rise up to the #1 spot, right? But of course, we also have had the pleasure of checking out the groups, and there is a lot of drama that will be unfolding when we introduce them to all of you guys in a bit. So without further ado, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, if you guys have just joined us, please do hit that like, share the stream out as well. And if you can do us a favor, go crazy in the comment section, all right? First off, let us know exactly who you are here to support for today.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a lot for us to unpack today. We have pretty crazy groupings that we're going to show later on. And of course, a lot of people are always excited about the prize pool. That is also something that is worthy to be excited for. But of course, the last official league was FFAC, and after a couple months of breaks, we're finally back. Malaysia looking stronger than ever. But you also did the Philippine Challenger with Neptune, so you've already gotten a head start of how Free Fire is going to be for 2022. But let's take a look at the prize pool and check out what these guys are going to fight for the league stage. The first place alone walks away with 7,500 ringgit. If you end up in second place by the end of the league stage, it's 5,000, 2.5k for third place, 2,000 for fourth and fifth, 1,500 for sixth place, 1,250 for seventh and eighth, 1,000 for ninth, 10th, 11th, and 12th, 750 for 13th and 14th place, 15th and 16th place walks away with 500 ringgit, and of course, if you are the bottom two, you still get 250 ringgit.
Yeah, the two groups of people. The first group thinking, "Oh, that's all," and the second group of people are thinking, "Wait, Free Fire, and this is how much they are giving each and every single team. Every single team that's in this competition, that's in this league, gets a little bit. Yes, they do, but there's more, right? Because from the league stages, the top 12 teams will move on to 1 day of grand finals, and the prize pool for the grand finals, on the other hand, Husky, a whole other story, my friend."
You have to be living this. If you make it to the grand finals and you end up being the grand champions, that's 45,000 ringgit, an astonishing volume of cash. But second place gets half of it, 20,000. Third place, you get 10,000. If you end up in fourth place, that's 7,500. Fifth place gets 5,000. Sixth place gets 3,000, and down to 7 and 8, that's 1,000 each. 9 and 10 get 750, and of course, if they end up in the bottom two slots, they get at least 500 ringgit.
I'm always happy that there's a consolation prize, but look at the disparity between the consolation prize in the 11th and 12th spot and that number one position, man. The grand champions, 45,000 ringgit in the bag. My goodness me. This is just a lot to go in here and fight for. And the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, they don't really have to fight that hard in the league stages because the top 12 gets to move on. So a lot of them can go out here and try out a lot of their strategies. But as they are playing their strategy, they need to find that golden balance. Husky, you've talked about this in the past as well. But when we look at the placement points, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the kill points definitely a high point of contention for a lot of these teams because just with placements, you don't really get that far. First place with the 12 points, second spot gets 9 points, third place gets 8 points, fourth place gets 7, and the fifth spot gets 6 points. And from then on, you might as well just look for better placements in that next round onwards, right? Because 5 points and from that, it's not really a lot in the competition, Husky.
Yeah, absolutely. And statistically, we have seen throughout the entirety of 2021, regardless of what region it is, when it comes to Free Fire, teams that have high volume of kills generally have a better time even during their bad days. And that has been proven time and time again, regardless of the circumstances these guys are put into. But it is time for us to unveil and introduce all of the teams onto the stage. We have 3 groups as usual for FFCM. It's Group A, we have two Barade, Epic, EWG, Hero, Metrics making a return, and of course Team Princess to round up the group.
I cannot wait to see exactly how much have the princesses grown. Will they be, camping out in those watchtowers a little bit extra, or will they get super aggressive this time around from the get-go? Group B will show us some of those iconic teams. AKO Steady Squad, one of them. Devora, Icon, Mindset Diehard, New Gang, as well as Secret Expert. And this is the drama that we were talking about, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Group C, Husky.
Absolutely a stacked competition with Argon MY, Blacklist International, Freedom Rumble, Geek Fam, Noxkick, Umbrella, and Sorry Warren. 5 out of those 6 teams are pretty familiar with the scene in Free Fire. So these guys have very experienced players. They have very experienced management, and most importantly, they have seen what Free Fire has to offer even on the regional level. So for those in Group C, they are really in for a challenge.
Well, let's see if or not Group C will be the group of death, or will things just get turned on its head in here? I mean, obviously, it's going to be impossible because lots of huge names in there. But you never know, man. You never know what you can expect from Free Fire. A lot of these teams have been grinding it out quite hard. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, in here for today, you can expect to see 2 maps, Bermuda as well as Kalahari, and the rotations between the groups will be as per usual. Group A and B will kick it off first in 2 back-to-back matches, and then we will have Group B staying on. Group C will be introduced into the mix as well, and then to round the day up, it will be Group A going up against Group C, all in that rotation of Bermuda and Kalahari.
Yeah, and just the perfect way to start off any Free Fire league. The classic Bermuda, and of course, kind of a different approach in Kalahari. They are teams that we are seeing right now who are very well versed when it comes to Kalahari. Blacklist International, again, being that resident name. But we'll see if this new roster of Blacklist players can bring out the same result as the previous roster has already demonstrated, right? The first time we saw this rendition was during FFAC, and they didn't really finish as high as we expected. So hopefully this is going to be that playing ground that Blacklist International can really perform.
Well, you have told us in the comment section who you are here to watch. Let us share with you who we think there are the teams who, who we should be keeping our eyes on. But unfortunately, we will have to, chit-chat a little bit more. We are preparing the graphics for you guys in the background. Husky, in all 6 of these rounds, the one thing that I can guarantee the audience today is we are going to be keeping to our schedule. The first 2 days of the Challengers Philippines was in that way as well. It's a running schedule, but as best as possible, if you're here and you don't get to spend all of your time with us today and you're just coming back for a specific group, just make sure you take note of the time. And here are those 3 teams, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls: Epic, Blacklist International, as well as AKO Steady Squad. What do you think about Epic being thrown into this mix, Husky?
Yeah, I think they are definitely going to be the wild card simply because they are kind of pit against, well, at least put on a pedestal as Blacklist International and AKO Steady Squad, 2 very familiar teams already. So maybe Epic is, hopefully Epic gets to show us something that we don't expect. And when it comes down to Free Fire, the unexpected has always been the storyline across every single league. We look at FFAC, we look at even back to MCP majors. There's always this turning point where the best team somehow falls and the underdog rises to the top. Blacklist International made that run during season 2 of MCP, but now fielding a slightly separate roster, and it is also the first time that they only field 4 members. Perhaps this is a fresh chapter in 2022.
And I hope, they show up for each and every single one of those matches, because you don't really have much of a backup in there with 3 players, even if you are Blacklist International, even if you are, the champion that everybody wants to go out there and beat early on just to prove, that they are dominant brands in here as well. It's going to get a little tough if they drop into any one of those matches with just 3 men, right? So hopefully we don't see any of those sorts in this league stages this time around. But if there's one team within the matchup between Group A and B that you're looking for, Husky, may I ask who would that be?
Group A and Group B, I wasn't ready for this, but I think for Group A and Group B, I'm primarily looking at who's is it? No, is that not AKO? AKO is Group C. I would be
AKO
looking
Steady Squad is in B.
Yeah. I probably Metrics. I think Metrics is the team that I am keeping an eye out for because they are coming back. This is their second time we see them in an official league, and also at the same time they are fielding the exact same roster from MCP season 2. So if there's anything that Metrics is here to prove, it is that they have improved over the past few months. During the season 2 of MCP, they didn't make it to the top 12. They finished 13th place, just I think 19 points shy of Wheels, who squeezed into 12 and made it to the grand final. So hopefully from that experience itself, Metrics is able to gain some improvement and show us in this main stage.
And it's a little tough, right? It's a little tough to just look at those Group A and Group B and just pull one name out immediately as to who's going to be able to shine the brightest, because a lot of those big brands inside of Group C, which is why you've already dubbed it the Group of Death very early on, Husky. So, quite excited to see exactly what they will be able to bring onto the table. So when we watch the matches between Group A as well as Group B, and then later on with C into the mix, it's most definitely going to be very, very different matches altogether, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Whether it's going to be fast-paced or much slower, we will wait to see exactly how they break it down in this classic map of Bermuda.
and it is just about time. We have set the stage. We have already bought everyone popcorns. It is time for the theatrical performance to begin between Group A and Group B. Just another very thematic way to kick off Free Fire Challengers Malaysia, an exciting way to kick off the new year, and of course, what better map to do it on than Bermuda, the all-time classic. And of course, two big names, Metrics and AKO Steady Squad. Icon is also a team that we need to watch out for. This is their first appearance, but the players on Icon are nothing shy of experience. So maybe these three teams will give us a performance that we're looking for.
Yeah, Deborah just dropping very early on from the flight path in towards Rimnam village. The heroes will be disturbed in a little bit because the Eastern Wolves gang are right beside them at the Mars Electric, so we can anticipate a little bit of a fight to break out there. Three squads on the other hand dropping right beside each other. Alpha from the back will be able to provide a little bit of cover whilst the rest of his team members go in there to pick up a couple of extra kill points for themselves, Aski.
Yeah, and right off the bat, we are already seeing TP getting themselves a couple of knocks, but unfortunately, they are the one who suffered the first casualty in the hands of Icon. So Jimmy Nyo will be the one that has to be sacrificed in order to keep the team in the running. But knowing Icon, I actually got to see Icon perform a couple of days ago, and these guys are no pushovers. They want blood, and once they get the advantage, they kind of remind you a bit of that X Freedom Rumble, maybe a bit of Steady Squad from last year, where you give them an inch, they take it a mile, and with that kill, perhaps Icon will try to push the advantage. But for right now, they will gather as much resources as they can and plan out whether it is worth it to go for the rest of TP.
Yeah, and whilst Icon's going in there and focusing on getting the resources set on their side, you know, their opponents are just waiting around for them to make a single mistake here. And here comes the Eastern Wolves gang going in for the chase. You know, a lot of hasty decisions being made in here by these teams as they look for very early kill points. But I think they should be slowing it down just a tad bit here, Husky, because, you know, just like what just happened out there, you never know exactly who's going to be catching you off guard. And very early on in these rounds, you don't really have much resources. You get caught in a lengthy battle, and it's game over for you too early.
Yeah, and I think in this league format, we have seen two different renditions of play style, right? Some teams like to play slow in the first 2 weeks, and they start to ramp it up. Some teams, they just blow through the gates, guns blazing, get 10 kills, 15 kills for the first week or two, and then they kind of suffer a dip in performance, but those skill points keep them afloat in the top 4 or the top 6. So I think it really boils down to the team's preference and how they want to approach the game. An aggressive team will normally just go aggressive, how they used to play, and try to get as much kills as possible. And I think Icon perhaps demonstrated a bit of that. We did get a kill from across the map, not really being able to witness that. But in the grand scheme of things, I feel like for Group A and Group B, AKO Steady Squad will probably be another team that will try to push the advantage by getting as much kills as possible.
That's a very smart move coming through from Icon, just shooting, beyond the observatory, taking the high ground, and then wrapping around, just in case they will have to meet any teams in there. And they've already gone in there for some early looting, so they will be prepared for a little bit of a battle, but, they don't find anyone there. But it's all about the setup, right? The anticipation. And you are right, Husky. Some of those teams, they take about 2 weeks to ramp up. And some of those other teams as well, they're all about getting that information early, right? They want to go in, they want to see how certain teams respond, where do they go in there for their drops. And, some of the bigger guys, some of those pro guys, they want to go and test their opponents, test the ones that most probably will be giving them a run for their money early on in the competition itself, to see what sort of battles, what sort of strategy do they need to be pulling off against them. Do they take early battles against them, take them out of the lobby, or do they wait for them in that final zone, right? Because now is where you get to take all of those risky plays, because if you need to buckle down and, really focus on your placement points later on, you most definitely will be able to do that. Now, let's see exactly what MPX says as they pull out an early time turner and Fies drops Slayer, who pretty much deserved that because he's way too far away from the rest of his teammates.
Yeah, I think when we saw Matrix beelining towards the edge of the cliff, that someone from the side of MND Diehard is going to lose his life because they were spread out apart. So this beeline maneuver effectively splits the members of MND Diehard from each other. And I just want to quickly make a bit of correction. Early on, I said that Matrix is fielding the same team as MCP Season 2. That apparently wasn't an updated information because I was looking at Wikipedia before this. So this is the actual squad. It is not. It is a total overhaul from MCP Season 2. So if I've caused any confusion, I'm here to correct it. Which makes it even more interesting, right? The same brand with a completely new roster, big ambitions, and even more expectations, I think, coming into this new year.
Let's see if or not they will be able to deliver. Moon catching a dime turner right in front of him. The owner of the dime turner just abandons it and runs away. He did help enough help. Ibnu right behind him as well. Does not pull out the glue wall. Finally does so, just so that he can recover from those shots that Moon is delivering. And AKO, they just try to find a knock here, and they might be able to get one if one of those players do slip up. But it just doesn't seem to be the case as they get out of that situation in the nick of time.
And for AKO, steady squad, so far, so good. This kind of reminds us of exactly what AKO are good at. They can be aggressive when they want to, but in times like these, they don't mind playing the long game. And of course, we have Mr. D leading the charge, one of the most renowned Free Fire players, and of course, figures in terms of this in the streaming world in Malaysia itself. So his experience, his mechanical prowess has always been a key asset to any team that he's been a part of. That has been shown during FFMC, and I think right now with him leading AKO Steady Squad, he is going to be that trailblazer that gives them what they need to win rounds.
Devora versus EWG at the factory. Let's see if or not Tua will be able to find anyone. Monito's already on the second floor trying to set up their defenses. Now, as they try to back away, Devora, on the other hand, is trying to flank around the factory. Let's see exactly how this is going to pan out for them. EWG is not waiting around. They do not want to take this fight. They are backing away from this situation as quick as their feet can carry them, Husky.
Yeah, and this is just kind of a classic maneuver of just not wanting to take risks. And there are a couple of members on the side of EWG that we might be familiar with. Manchai, ex-Sorry Raw member, so definitely kind of the swap that you've been looking for. You've been talking about a pre-game where you want to see where these players have gone to, if there's any roster shuffles. This is one of it. Manchai from Sorry Raw to EWG.
Duo Brade right in front of them. Stands absolutely no one. They are free to loot up, but just taking precautions as they move from one compound to another. A lot of open areas here at Bermuda that they just do not want to take any risks on. It's the first time we're coming across this team. None of those teams here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, have gotten a free ticket, right? Everyone's earned their spot in here. They had the in-game qualifiers, and then 48 of the best teams in Malaysia, they were put through the quarterfinals, and the best 18 are here now to fight it off. And the Princesses right beside AKO, and this is about to turn into a four-way fight very, very soon, Husky, with the Princesses opening up against AKO Steady Squad.
Ijaz will be the first one to get shot down, but it's not by AKO Steady Squad though, it's SX from afar. So unfortunately, there is a lot more enemies that they need to be aware of. Secret experts are not ashamed to pull the trigger. EWG Manchai just drives a truck right through the battlefield, and he might suffer as a cause of that. Now forced off of his vehicle, and he is completely stranded out in the open. Flame will let him taste that. Nga is the one who gets knocked down as EWG gets stuck, or at least Manchai from EWG gets stuck. For Secret Expert, they will now have to deal with Icon, who is on that western side of Plantation. You can see that Team Princess, they are already splitting apart. They leave one guy to deal with AKO Steady Squad. That guy might just be the anchor who gives his life away, where the rest of Team Princess will try to spread out and cover more ground away from the battlefield.
The worst thing that could happen to Manchai has happened, and the guy now is stranded, but he seems absolutely unfazed, right? Just waiting for the rest of the EW squad to catch up with him. But they say bye-bye. If you die, it is your own fault. Nobody told you to go there in the first place, because even if they do step on in to back him up, they have to go through 4 different other squads, and that's just a suicide of a rescue mission. And now it's going to be Duo Barade as they try to spot some players right in front of them being shot from the left. It potentially might just be the players of EWG, and Monito also has to just be careful of, all of the shots that they take, because if you are not going to be able to kill your opponents, you're just giving them way too much of information. And now, just like that, Duo Berade, they back away towards that bridge, but they will have a different sort of a fight, an epic battle in a couple of moments. Team Epic, a beeline they make towards them, Husky.
And I think for at least for EWG, Monito will now have a lot more on his shoulders, right? Previously, a member of Team Fastkill, one of the few fraggers that is hyper aggressive, and sometimes it does not pay off. But maybe in this situation, his expertise is definitely needed. But for MND, though, it is not so lucky, as MND Diehard will have another player call out in the open by Epic. This time it's Atong. So 2 members from that team has already been eradicated because they are so far away from each other. It's kind of baffles me I wonder what the idea was, what the communication was for MND Diehard, because we didn't really see them move as a unit, and now they've lost 2 members as a result of that. The other 2 are nowhere to be seen.
They're living true to their name, dying hard. But it's okay if they make a couple of mistakes. Now, I guess they just wanted to experiment something. If we do get a chance, we'll check in with them a little bit later on as to exactly what was running through their minds. But, it will be another epic battle for these boys, as right in front of them, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it will be a hero squad now. Dropping on in MNG from the bottom. Did not expect Coco to pop out of nowhere, and he pulls out the MSMC, goes in for another spray. Rizal in front of him, no nades in his hands, and he will be taken down. No, he does not. He actually manages to knock down Eman. Rizal will be able to respond. The backup comes through as well as Kate.
Yeah, and they're just gonna be fighting as clear. Very tricky terrain to fight, and those glue walls, they don't really cover all the angles, but Ashen will be able to at least down 1. He does get traded back. Keppa now will join the fight and get the return kill, and that will be Epic, wiping out Hero, sending them back to the lobby as the first defeated team.
Let's see if not X Sega will be able to get picked up here. Yes, they all do. And Team Epic, what a showdown. And you are absolutely right, but this is a very weird angle to take a battle on. It's not like either side decided, this was going to be the place where they do battle, right? But they just came across each other, and Team Epic were the ones who responded a little bit faster. Coco got a little bit over aggressive, but thanks to the backup by Ashen, they were able to get out of that situation in one piece. And now Team Epic, as they make their way in towards the next safe zone, towards Riverside, they're not going to have much to worry about, potentially coming across Team Metrics later on, but they will be able to survive this encounter for the time being. The Princesses still spread apart as I think it's high time they get back together, Husky.
And just to add on to the earlier fight, it was slightly weird, I think, for Hero to take a fight there, because sure, the terrain was weird, but it also makes them super vulnerable. Speaking of that, Icon have found a second victim, and I think it is once more MND Diehard, and another member who is just completely isolated. Maybe this is kind of their way of testing the waters for round number 1. So far, hasn't really been working out. They are constantly getting picked off left, right, and center. And in the eyes of Icon, he is already dead from the beginning. So MND Diehard will be the second team to get wiped out.
In the 11th spot, not much of placement points. In fact, no placement points. So they have to try hard a little bit later on Diehard. The strategy of splitting up, I'm not so sure exactly what sort of information they were trying to collect for themselves, but I don't think they managed to collect much. They just, died in every single encounter. Metrics, on the other hand, will have an epic battle on their hands. They have the higher ground, and that is an advantage in a way, not so much of an advantage if you have a sniper on the other hand trying to stake you out, because you get to spot those heads out a little bit more, and the hit mark onto Troop does not manage to knock him down. Not many grenades on Coco as well, so he needs to close the distance between himself as well as the rest of the Metrics team members. But stepping on in, oh, beautiful! He pulls out the glue wall, but the nade still managed to get through Husky.
Yeah, and the second A also gets attacked on the second floor, and you can see that Riven, he does have his own name, but he thinks against it, and Zig, I will find 2 more on the second floor. Keppa has already made his entrance, and they know that they have already won this fight without even trying too hard. Sure, Coco gets knocked down, but at the end of it, it is epic with 4 more kills. They completely obliterate their opponents, and that's already 9 under their belt.
Yeah, let's see if or not New Gang will be a stronger opponents for the Epic squad, because so far they have just been absolutely annihilating anyone they fight in front of them. Now, 2 brothers, Kimi, beautiful shotgun action, jumps up, Ash gets taken down way too fast there, and Dua Barade, they will be able to survive this battle for just a little bit more. EWG might just be the third party that they do not expect in this fight. And that's exactly what Deborah needs to be very careful of. They are holding onto an angle which saves them the trouble of getting shot down by Duo Barade, but it does not protect them against EWG, Husky.
Yeah, and again, it's going to be NWG with Kenzie. Got tagged by a nade, but thankfully it's not enough to take him down just yet. New Gang, they are trying to find a way to at least siege this building. It is an effort for them to flush out Epic, and this is the challenge that you've been looking for. It seems like Epic have finally met the match. Kappa will be instantly taken out, no chance of retaliation, and WG continues to push the advantage, and Devil Raw will be eliminated off screen, but New Gang themselves have 2 members on the ground. One of them is already eradicated, and the grenade launcher from Kenzie will seal the deal. That's gonna be Epic completely wiped out, and New Gang will stay alive, but Drax decides that he's not gonna be able to save neither of his teammates, so he will be the sole survivor for his team. On the other side, EWG now makes an entrance. The is Wolfgang Monito will be the one who leads the charge alongside Tua as his right-hand man. They're gonna try to take on a 2B, but AKO Steady Squad is also there, and instantly Moon gets taken out.
Yeah, and this was the battle that we were saying EWG had the upper hand on earlier on. Deborah got taken down way too easy. Dua Barade still sticking under the bridge. And AKO from that left-hand side not really putting on a lot of pressure onto EWG. So they will be able to just maintain the edge of the next safe zone, whilst the rest of those players come in here for another battle. It's going to be Secret Expert right in front of them. And Dua gets knocked down by Zero from the back. The grenade launcher comes into action once again.
Yeah, Monito, he just rushes in, probably wants to provide some backup, but now finds himself in the crosshairs of 2 barrels from EWG, and that is just no way for them to win the fight. Now, Dua Barade finds himself challenged by AKO Steady Squad. It's going to be Rich on the ground, and AKO Steady Squad will try to push that advantage. Imnu, on the other hand, takes out New Gang, so we're down to just 3 teams. Akinsu down 0, Ajimbu will trade back, but it is still going to be a pretty fair fight. 2B are holding up pretty well. They're flushing AKO Steady Squads right into their crosshairs, and with those glue walls blocking the terrain, blocking the highway, AKO Steady Squad finds no chance of winning this round, and we are down to just the final 2 teams. 2B only has 2 members though, whereas their opponents, they are packed with the entire squad.
Yeah, but they don't really have much of an angle here to go in there for any sort of a fight. And, you know, all the team of Dua Barade now needs is a couple of grenades in their hands, maybe even a grenade launcher that they might be able to pick up from the ground. Kimi just trying to see if or not he can spot any one of those players out, but they are quite well hidden, and it looks like the safe zone is going to be doing its work on all of these players, and the numbers game might just catch up with Dua Barade, Husky.
Yeah, this is going to be hard though, because they are on the bottom of the dam, and with that blue zone coming in, and with the snipe of the Kimi, what a perfect shot, and the blue zone is just going to tick everyone from 2B down. Kimi has no chance. Rich can't out-heal that damage, and it will be the Booyah, the first ever Booyah of FFCM going over to the side of Secret Expert.
Yeah, but, you know, I don't know how big of a win that was for Secret Expert, because I think they kind of sneaked in all the way into the final zone. But that is their strategy, right? Try to secure as much placement points as possible. Don't really risk it with those engagements. And if possible, stay away from all of those other teams and just make sure, you stay safe. Kind of is the perfect plan, if you ask me. And at the very end of the zone, I don't think they kind of, planned for that to happen, but it was the best position for them to sneak into, as AKO kind of took the right-hand side of the bridge. You already had, Dua Barade on the bridge, and the only part that they could hold on to seemed to have given them a great advantage at the end, Husky.
Yeah, absolutely. When I saw, I think, the third or fourth circle, in my mind, I was already thinking, what if the circle ends at the bridge, right? The team at the bottom of the dam will have a slightly better hiding spot when the circle closes in, and that was exactly what happened. And you know, one thing I love about Free Fire League is that every time we get the end game screen where we show the player camps, there is always going to be that one player that just shows so much love to his or her partner, and we saw just that the power of love always prevails, and that's probably the secret recipe for Secret Expert to win game 1.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I thought that was his sister, but you know, thanks for clarifying. It's like, no, it's not his sister.
Now you got me panicking. we
but you know, we fight for those we love, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Yes.
It doesn't change, right? In Free Fire Challengers Malaysia, you can expect the unexpected, and I guess what was unexpected for Dua Berade is to get taken down by Ibnu at that very last moment. Because if Ibnu had not had that snipe shot, I don't think Dua Berade would have lost their lives so easily, right? Because they would have just managed to run in towards the middle part of that final zone and out-sustain those players who were just at the bottom of the dam, because from that spot there's no way you can climb up anymore. And Dua Berade, they were destined to win this matchup on a default, but it was Ibnu just saving the game with one final shot, and I believe he got the MVP as well with that one kill.
Yeah, it really felt like Dua Berade had a better chance of winning, right? Simply because there was more ground for them to navigate. But I also think they felt compelled to do something with the blue zone closing in. There is not really 100% guarantee that they would win that, so they would.
Yes.
I think they were looking for some avenues, right? Some sort of avenues to challenge a Secret Expert, perhaps get a couple of points even if they go down, and unfortunately it didn't really pay off. But regardless, we will conclude game number 1 and take a look at some of the highlights, because I think that this kind of sets the tone for at least these two groups.
Yeah, Team Princess started things off really well, but they couldn't really find much of a kill there. Metrics, on the other hand, were able to pick up quite a number of kills for themselves. And Epic, it was quite the epic run for them, right? They, I believe, went through 3 different teams, managing to pick up about 9 kills before getting taken down by New Gang. And that was an encounter they weren't really prepared for.
Yeah, and I think for Team Princess, it definitely was kind of a decent opening. Sure, they didn't make it until the very end, but they did show us some sort of resilience. Epic, though, had a wonderful performance, and despite Secret Expert getting the booyah, I felt like Epic had the best run in round 1. They eventually did fall to New Gang, as New Gang came in to challenge them right after this sequence of fight. But even then, if not for Kenzie's grenade launcher, I felt like Epic would have made a stronger final stand.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And you know, New Gang just played the timing right here, and Kenzie got taken down. Drex was the final player who was able to save the rest of those teams. But you know, in the 4th spot, that's all they could, you know, muster up for themselves. Dua Berade, they held the bottom of the bridge really, really well until auto knockout came there to spoil some of their plans. But they managed to overcome that fight. They did drop one man either way, though. And Ibnu, this was that moment where he wanted for his squad. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it would be Secret Expert at the very top with the booyah as well as the 4 kill points to give them an overall 16 points. Dua Berade doing really well for themselves with a 16 as well in the 2nd place, and Epic with the 10 kills that they've managed to get for themselves. Although they don't finish off in the 3rd place, they do sneak in there either way, overall with 15 points, Husky.
Yeah, Epic finished in 6th place, but the kill points, they definitely made out for that. And of course, New Gang and AKO Static Squads both share the 4th and 5th with 11 points. East Wolfgang EWG 7 points in 6th place. Devora in 7th place getting 6 points. Icon only getting 4, a slow start for them. Same with Metrics and Team Princess, who will both have 3 points. Hero and MND Diehard unfortunately did not get any points for round number 1, and they were the first 2 teams to get knocked out. Hero, unfortunately, they challenged Epic underneath a bridge, a very awkward place to fight. They end up losing everyone. As for MND Diehard, they just were not playing as a unit, so a very weird start for these 2 teams. But other than that, it is kind of what we expected. Some teams to come out the gates with just utter aggression, and I think Epic proved that.
Yeah, I mean, over the course of 4 weeks, we've got 8 days of games. Each and every single day, they've got 4 rounds in here. So one round, they don't do really well. It's okay. We still have a lot of space in our hearts and minds for teams like Hero as well as MND Die Hard. But, they have to start finding it in themselves to, kind of progress through this match without splitting up way too early, right? I understand that they want to try out a few different strategies, but there needs to be a strategy that's in play in the first place, Husky. It just felt like it was just a little too scattered from the get-go. But, maybe they're going somewhere with it. We will be able to see maybe a storyline being built by them over a couple of matches. But from the first game, I kind of see exactly why production has got their eyes kept on Epic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And in fact, out of the 3 teams, barring Blacklist International because they're not playing yet, AKO Steady Squad definitely didn't really at least live up to that opening match expectations, which I think is fine. They are a team that probably needs some time to come online. Mr. D would need to kind of steer these guys in the right direction, because I felt like before we got a glimpse of AKO Steady Squad against Dua Berade, Moon actually tried to run in and he actually got taken out way before the main fight started. So that kind of put AKO Steady Squad on the back foot. Perhaps the communication was having one guy to open up the firefight. Didn't work out. So let's see if they can change it up in Kalahari. But aside from that, Epic, they definitely made a splash, and they deserve to be featured as the team to watch.
Absolutely. And of course, Metrics, they won't be too pleased with how they got taken down. It was a good setup by them in terms of the defense, but how Epic just raided them with all of those nades, that's something that they have to be looking out for. The time turners weren't used in that situation. They did have a couple of extra glue walls, which they were holding on to, but not really expecting a full-on rush to come through from the Epic squad, right? But those are the kind of things that Metrics has to look out for, because in a situation like that, what else can you expect? You're already flushed up onto the second floor. And, overall, it's just a couple of these mistakes that they have to adjust in these rounds little by little as they just warm up and find a few more strides. But, I'm not going to give them too much of a hard time. It's round 1. Everybody's warming up in here. Even we are warming up, Husky.
Yeah, this is just the beginning, right? We haven't really felt the peak of excitement yet. There is definitely more to come. I mean, if you calculate, I think there's like I've lost count. I don't know, 60 matches in total. It's just a rough number. I'm throwing it out there because my math has not improved over the course of 2021. The point is, there is a lot more to come. And after this, we're jumping into Kalahari. That's where the keyword high ground will keep echoing until Free Fire ceases to exist, which I think is never, because it's an amazing game. Kalahari, high ground. I'm looking at Refinery once more.
Yeah, it's not just about the high ground, it's about the rotations from one safe zone into the other. And because Kalahari is just so annoying, where as you are moving from one compound to another, the terrain just moves in terms of elevation, right? So you really have to plot your path in. You have to, look for some of these zip lines that you can perhaps make use of in a situation where you can, make a quick exit from any one of these spots. But, I want to keep an eye on the team that chooses to drop into Refinery. And my biggest question is, will they make the epic old mistake of just overstaying their welcome as usual?
Yeah, and that has been the theme that we get to see every now and then. Some teams, they like to hold a certain compound, and one of the clearest examples, I think, is Bloody Hit from the Philippines. When they play Kalahari, you do not want to go to command post. Command post is off limits. That's one chunk of the territory on the map, off the table, because that's where they like to be at. But this is, just within Malaysia. We'll see who wants to take control of command post. And I think Team Princess are the closest team. In fact, they are already parachuting on their way to that spot. No other teams are even remotely close to being in their vicinity. So it's safe to say the Team Princess has a really good spot to bunker down and also gather as much resources as possible. But on the far east side, and also around the area, around this area of confinement, we get an WG instantly kind of hot dropping with another squad.
Yeah, new gang now, opportunity. Oh, Dua Berade going up against Metrix, and Metrix now with Rai on the ground as well. 2 players left, Troop as well as Fires. Akims with the P90 sprays him down, and they will be able to hit back against Kimmy and deleting him out of the equation. Dua Berade, I believe, have only 1 more player left on their side. This is a battle early on at Foundation, which has hit both of these teams really, really hard, not really benefiting either side, Husky.
Yeah. One of the few classic spots for an early clash. Foundation is one, Confinement is another one. Sometimes you see it in Mammoth, but that one really comes down to lesser teams head for Mammoth, as their initial drop. So Foundation is always kind of the place where teams make or break the round. We have seen countless times where there is only a couple of matches left until we determine the final standings, and the teams just somehow unanimously decided to telepathy that we are going to drop at Foundation, and whoever loses out, just gives up the spot. And so for Dua Berade, definitely not a good start. They are only down to Akims, and after the round 1 performance, this is going to hit them a bit hard and slow down their progression on the leaderboard.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, but overall, it's just the decision making, right? Day number 1 is where you go in there and you collect all of your information, all your data, and the biggest information that you need to collect on is the drop spots. You need to find out exactly where you can be safe early game, especially if, you're the kind of team that likes to wind up a little bit slowly, right? You don't really like to get, super aggressive from the early parts of the game. And that exactly seems to describe Dua Berade really, really well. Kimmy, Crown 86, as well as Rich, they will have to wait a little bit because right after this, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Dua Berade, they will have to take a break as Group B will stay on to meet Group C. So I guess, this round being bad for them is in a way all right. They can take a small little break here and come back refreshed later on. Husky.
Yeah, it is going to take a while for all of these teams to gather ample info, because you only get to play one map against each team once. So that's very little time to gather intel. But for EWG, they might have gathered some kills. They did get a knockdown on Rambo from the side of Hero. That we saw the glue wall being propped down, but not sure if anyone can reach Rambo, and the answer is no. No one is even remotely close on the radar, so that's a free kill for EWG. Hero kind of playing that what MND Diehard played on game 1, where they kind of split up a bit, and they ended up losing that one member early on. So slightly unfortunate for Hero, but in the grand scheme of things, they still have 3 left alive, and those 3 guys are heading towards Refinery.
Let's see if or not they will be able to shut down Tua. Moon from afar will be able to find a couple of shots. And overall, AKO steady squad. This is quite a risky move from Moon, because he's going in here for the early engage. No trigger discipline, giving away a lot of information of his position. Not really knowing exactly where the rest of the team members of the opponent is. But, he does have a few backup, albeit a little far. If a sniper does manage to knock him down, it will be a little bit of a trouble for AKO to get to move.
Yeah. Thankfully, they are near Mammoth, so there isn't too much angles that an enemy team can kind of ambush them from. And, these guys are playing this very spread out formation. It does cover a lot of ground, but like you said, there are certainly weaknesses to these kind of strategies, where getting picked off means that you are very likely going to die, since backup is going to be too far away. But with that aside, we have New Gang now finally taking the challenge straight to Secret Expert. They did both hot drop at Confinement, but they split up for a while, and now it seems like a fate has brought them together again, with New Gang kind of putting on the pressure onto Secret Expert.
Secret Expert earlier on, they only managed to muster up 4 kills overall, mainly playing placement points, and a very early encounter against a very mechanically sound team like New Gang. I believe this might just spell trouble for them. Oh my lord! How did he hit that back to back? He killed that guy on the spot.
My goodness, he did one down, but I would say that is a pretty decent trade for him. But I think in the grand scheme of things, New Gang still feel slightly happier because they got 2 kills, and unfortunately for Secret Expert, they only got 1. So the numbers are definitely favoring New Gang, and you can see that they want more. And this is back to confinement. It is Secret Expert with a couple of buildings to work with, but for New Gang, they will spend some time on the outskirts, just restoring their utilities before they go in for the push. They definitely have the intention of flushing out Secret Expert from this area, and unfortunately for Secret Expert, with this spread out formation, it is going to be a bit hard to hold off New Gang.
Yeah, Shots is trying to rotate over. I don't know if he's trying to flank or just trying to get out of that position so that he can play for placement points. And once again, of course, drag in a few extra for his side, right? And Manchai will get knocked down. It's going to be Team Hero taking on EWG now at the sub. And EWG, who are right in front of them, Manchai will get shut down because Vanix is right in front of him. Imanji with a great nade onto Monito. And that play, that one nade will break EWG apart. But a good response by Imanji against Monito once again finishes him off. Jay-Z, can he take this? Shots a little bit too far, and they seem to be playing this defensively. EWG, they don't want to lose any more men in here, Husky.
But at the same time, they are also kind of trapped. I feel like EWG can actually make a run if they do it right now. Jay-Z does get a knock, but he's instantly traded back. On the other side, Secret Expert, they lost their third member, so Shots GG is also dead. Unfortunately for Secret Expert, they stood absolutely no chance against New Gang, and it is down to just this one lone survivor to carry on that legacy for the rest of the round. As for Hero, they continue to battle it out against EWG, but it seems like the ceasefire has been achieved, and both teams will decide to part ways and go off of their own.
Yeah, Hero, I don't know if that was a good trade coming through for them, but, you know, as long as they still have a duo in here to work with, I guess there's no way they're going to be happy with that. They just have to try better the next round they get in here, right? MND Die Hard spreading across the map in the compound that they are holding onto, and the opponents aren't really going to be stopping by. I believe that's Icon getting away from them, Flame Mio, Yun, as well as New Boys. So that's not going to be something that MND Die Hard's going to have to panic about for the time being, as they stick on very, very close to the edge of the zone. They potentially might have EWG coming on towards them. That's not going to be too much of an issue unless Atong now gets caught out of nowhere, and, you know, things are just going to be breaking down for them terribly. But Icon, on the other hand, they will be able to meet AKO Steady Squad, and Mr. D, this time, he has the ability to engage long range.
And we see, man, he just got eliminated right before this skirmish begins. So they are playing with a handicap for only 3 members against AKO Steady Squad. And of course, because AKO Steady Squads are in command post, there is a lot of cover for them to work with. The blue zone is going to start closing in right now. And it seems like AKO, they're going to slowly back off into the deeper end of this compound, just so they have more space to work with. Off screen, Dua Barade will finally meet their end in the hands of Coco.
Now, Dua Barade, they did manage to go and get a knock, but, you know, things just ended for them a little bit too early. But it's all right. You know, things didn't start off great for them. And, you know, I wasn't really expecting much from them in this round. But like we discussed, they just have to take this breather whilst Group B stays on. And then later on, they get to have a piece of Group C. Now, I don't know how that is going to fare for them because, like you said, Husky, there's the group of death waiting for everyone. And it's going to be a hell lot more difficult to pick up any points in there for Group A when the time comes. And of course, AKO Steady Squad, as they make their way in towards command posts, trying to secure a defensive position for them. They will have Icon on towards their right and Team Princess on their left. If a fight now kicks off against Icon, Team Princess will be able to, they must now jump on and third party this situation and pick up some good solid points for themselves.
And hopefully Team Princess, I'm surprised that they gave up a command post, considering that they are the only team who dropped there. But right now, seems like they don't really mind playing on the outskirts, and that's probably a good decision because the circle definitely favors them. They are very close to the center as, oh, the grenade from Moon almost takes out Flame. And he knows that there's one guy in that sniper tower, and that's going to be Flame. So Moon is going to go for a second round, but he has to be careful though, because backup is still there. New Boys was able to bring Zero down low. Unfortunately, AKO will be halted temporarily as Icon finds a way, or at least tries to find a way in. Mr. D playing on the high ground, gets sniped by Jason Miro from afar with that grenade launcher. Two different teams working in tandem for a kill onto Mr. D, and AKO Steady Squad gets brought down to just 3 members. That might be the green light for EWG to swarm in from command posts from the west side, and from the eastern side, Icons are ready to make a move.
Yeah, when your leader gets taken down, do you stop or do you continue moving? AKO. Now, this will show exactly how good this squad is. Unfortunately, together with Mr. D, Zero makes his exit back towards the lobby as well. And EWG now has the opportunity to come in and shut down Moon. And Moon just getting stuck in a situation where it will be a 2 versus 1. They've split up already to play the best in terms of placement points for themselves. But I don't see that to be a great idea, Aski.
Yeah, you can't even blame AKO Steady Squad for being in this spot. All thanks to East Wolfgang from afar. I mean, Jay-Z just doing Mr. D dirty, and because of that, AKO Steady Squad completely lost control of command post. It is now anyone's game. This is an open field where the best team can definitely rack up a couple of kills, and you can see that Tua from EWG is now going to start rushing in. They are putting on the pressure, pedal to the metal, as Flame will take on Iman GG from off screen. That's going to be from Hero EWG. Jay-Z does 5 fires from Metrics as East Wolfgang continues that onslaught into command post and through command post as well.
Yeah, Jay-Z he's definitely on fire. All 4 kill points coming from this guy. Now, let's see if or not he will be able to continue rolling, as, you know, the situation towards the next zone just gets a little bit more chaotic. New Boys will be able to find one of the heads from Devora, and I believe that was Cyber that he managed to knock down earlier on. And Icon, as they make their move in, this fight against auto knockout is still continuing in here. And with 3 players, just look at the bottom part of the map, right? That's just pure chaos building right there, Husky.
And that is all in the area of command post, while Team Princess just chills in the center. Moon was able to get a kill for himself as AKO Steady Squad refuses to go down. Jim from afar takes out Tua, so they are racking up a couple of kills. EWG getting a taste of their own medicine, a good glue wall to deflect that grenade, buying Jace some time to bandage himself up as MND Diehard will get taken out by Team Princess as these guys, as they try to reach the center of the circle. So for EWG, now they're on the back foot. Those early pickups that they got into Mr. D didn't really work out at the end of the day, as Team Princess are just getting free kills left, right, and center. Neki and Ash both get knocked down thanks to Icon from afar. That is gonna buy AKO Steady Squad some time. New Boys will be the one to finish off Ash, as unfortunately for Devora, they won't be able to make it too close to Team Princess, as New Gank will be the 3rd team to get knocked out.
Let's see. And I did not expect that from New Gang, but you know, that's exactly how things work in a chaotic situation like this. Now, Epic right in front of the Princess, holding on to a great compound for themselves with the 5 kills in hand so far. They will be able to pick up 2 more here from the team of Devora. And Cyber is caught between his own glue walls as well as Jimmy Neo's shots from afar, and he will be just popping out even more of those glue walls just so that Jimmy Quest can continue to make his way in towards the safe zone. That's a sacrifice that he's making for his team member right there, Husky.
And unfortunately, metrics are already out as Team Princess continues to hold down the fort. All the other teams are converging from multiple angles. At Devora, they are desperately trying to gain some ground, at least an inch as close as possible to this area, because this building is going to be the final stand for Team Princess. Vanix does take out Moon, and AKO Steady Squad will finally meet their end. Icon continues to push behind this one blue wall. Vanix down to the blue zone, so Hero also gets eliminated by the end of the day, followed by Devora, thanks to Mio's perfect grenade launcher alongside Flame with the rifle at Team Princess. This feels like a raid. This feels like a boss fight. It feels like these guys are storming the castle in Game of Thrones, because Icon, with the cover of these smoke grenades, they're about to find cover, and they have placed themselves in this warehouse.
Well, Icon seems to be bagging the most out of this, and with the grenade launcher in hand and a couple of extra nades, they should be able to bring on a lot of damage into this compound now. Everybody just rushing up onto the second floor. Flame comes in through as well with the melee in hand, not able to switch out to his gun in time, gets knocked down onto the ground. Shotgun unable to make the play, and Epic gets taken out. And yes, the grenade launcher comes out, but not much from Mio, still surviving, and he gets the booyah!
Incredible performance from Icon. You thought that they are in a disadvantage. They had that all planned out, and dare I say, it all started with one smoke grenade. We don't really see this utility used often in Free Fire. We see flashes, we see frags, but we don't really see smokes, and this is why smoke grenades can't make the difference. Just 15 seconds of obscuring that line of sight from Team Princess allow Icon to sneak through, to buy some time, and to put themselves in the best possible position to win the round. And of course, credits to the grenade launcher, it always ggets the job done. But nonetheless, I think Icon not only got the booyah, they also got double digit in terms of kills.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, and I thought that one mistake by Flame was just going to undo the whole squad of Icon, right? But nope, Mio right outside with the grenade launcher, just so souped up, ready for anyone to take the fight up against him. And that was really smart play because everybody else was just rushing into that one final compound in that final safe zone. And he just chose to wait outside. And that was the best decision that he could make because everybody else just fell one after another. It was just smart plays. In a way, Icon could have gotten shut down a little bit earlier from Devora because it was quite a good setup from them. But once again, it is the playmaker Mio. One shot of the grenade launcher finished them off as well. And those survivors who survived through a lot of battles could not put up a fight at all, Husky.
Yeah, and whoever made the call to have that one smoke grenade deserves all the credit for that booyah because they were being pinned down by Team Princess. But because Team Princess could not see where they were, they got distracted. They could not really pinpoint where Icon was, and by the time they had that information, they were forced to jump off the building thanks to the blue zone and take the fight straight on against Icon, and they jumped right into a grenade launcher. And of course, the final moments, we saw the good time turner from Mio to really save himself with a slither of health. So all these small details combined really showed us why Icon is the team that needs to be watched out for. And early on, I did mention that Icon could be the underdog, and they have shown that in round 2.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. And what a great way and what a great time for them to kick it into high gear because they will be staying on now for match number 3. And the group of death, Group C, will step into the play. Argon MY, Blacklist International, Freedom Rumble, Geek Fam, No Escape, Umbrella, as well as Sorry Raw. 6 very well-known teams stepping on into the mix. And when we said Group A will find it a little difficult to pick up some points, the question is, will Group B suffer the same fate as well? So far, with Icon stepping on in there, they've shown us, just like a couple of other teams as well, that the grenade launcher, if your team can pick it up, you most definitely have a strong chance of picking up the booyah as well, Husky.
Yeah, and the grenade launcher definitely utilized to its full potential in both game 1 and 2. We saw it being pulled out even just around the mid-game. We've already seen some grenade launchers being kind of utilized to get a couple of kills, and this one was definitely a great moment for Nga as he was able to finish the kill right before he went down. We did catch a glimpse of Hero around the sub, but again, they were not able to make it that far. A secret expert also kind of picked up left, right, and center. This was where things got really bad for AKO thanks to East Wolf Gang, but at the end of the day, AKO hung on longer than EWG.
Yeah, absolutely right. And that just shows the determination from all of these boys. But they have to be able to step up even further, even without Mr. D in the mix. It still is a very soft approach coming through from the boys of AKO Steady Squad. And I'm just not sure exactly what is not hitting, right? Even in the previous matchup, the best that they could muster up was that 5th spot. And this time, they suffered, I believe, a little bit of a worse fate. And, now is the best time for them to find their true stride, because if it was already difficult to pick up points, once again, it's gonna be even more difficult as the Titans now step on in from Group C, Husky.
And that is where it beckons the question: is this group of death really the group of death, or is it just a group of death on the surface, but actually not that big of a threat? We kind of saw that, right, in the previous tournaments that we worked on together. There is this one group of death, but somehow it was more of them eating themselves up than threatening the other groups. So maybe let's see which trajectory Group C is going to go towards. Are they going to be just trying to contend against each other, or are they really going to take the meal away from the rest of the teams? That is something that we will be finding out in a bit, because there's still the standings coming up. While waiting for that, I think it is a good time to have some premonition, to have some predictions. It's going to be B against C, back on Bermuda. What are you looking out for?
Argon MY for sure, as well as Geek Fam. I mean, the boys have been out of it for quite a while. I'm very, very curious to see whether or not they have gotten rusty or they will be able to jump on back up. Argon MY has just been the team that, you know, has had its downtime and uptime. I'm just curious to see if or not the Free Fire Challengers Malaysia Season 1 will be the competition that they take to turn everything around for themselves. Blacklist International, obviously, the usual set of expectations, but I actually expect them to not do really well at the early stages of the competition. These guys really like to strike when nobody expects us.
And just like the name suggests, right? Just like Cobra's name suggests, Blacklist International somehow always show up when you least expect it. They did it when they were baby Argon back in MCP Season 1. They won the league stage. They didn't win the grand finals, but the league stage was kind of not really their playground until the very end. And then came MCP, where Blacklist International completely dominated when it mattered the most. So, but that was with the old lineup. This time, they, Manflank no longer with them. They are only left with Cobra and Phoenix from the original roster. They bring in Ali, they bring in Miru, from Fascio and I think Sem9. So maybe this new rendition of Blacklist will give us something different. But until then, I have to agree that maybe Blacklist International will go off to a slow start.
Yeah, but either way, we can expect a lot from match number 3. But of course, let's take a quick look at the round standings, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, from Group A versus B. This was match number 2, and Icon this time round picking up the booyah for themselves with 10 kills in the bag for an overall 22 points. Just behind them, Team Princess with the 6 kills in the bag, 15 points overall, 11 points for Team Epic in the 3rd spot. Hero picks up the 4th position with the 10 points, and Secret Expert picking up the 5th position with 8 points, Sasuke.
Yep, and of course, following behind Secret Expert is Devora with 7 points in 6th place, EWG in 7th place with 6 points, alongside AKO Steady Squad. Afterwards, we have Metrics in 9th place with 5 points under their belt. New Gang in 10th place with 4 points in their name. Dua Barade with 2 points in 11th place, and of course MND Diehard once more bagging a 0 in game number 2. So definitely an underwhelming start for MND Diehard in particular. They played 2 matches, and both matches they were not able to even put a single point in the jar.
They don't mind dying hard, but I kind of mind seeing them dying like this. I wonder, will they actually turn on when they go up against Group C? You never know, man. And if that happens, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm looking forward to seeing MND Die Hard step it up. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, just a quick recap on the round so far. The first one kicked off at Bermuda between Group A and B once again, and Secret Expert, they managed to bag the booyah in that first game. Not a lot of kills, just 4 with a total of 16 points. And in the second match, Icon Esports, they managed to bag the booyah for themselves with a total of 10 kills with a overall 22 points. That's the roundup of match number 1 and 2. As we prepare for Group C, we will hit that reset button on the maps. We will be moving right back into Bermuda. But of course, before all of that, the overall standings, Sasuke.
Yep, and we have Icon and Epic both leading the charge in the leaderboard with 26 points respectively, followed by Secret Expert with 24 as they place themselves third. Dua Barada and Team Princess both have 18 points in contention for 4th place. AKO Steady Squad will be in 6th place with 17 points. New Gang with 15 points in 7th place. EWG and Devil Raw will both share 13 points, contending for 8th place. So that is going to be the first page of the overall standings.
Oh yeah, man. And of course, for the 2nd place, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is of course Hero, Matrix, M&D, Die Hard, Freedom, Rumble, Geek Fam, Sorry Raw, Blacklist International, Argon MY, as well as No Escape Umbrella. 8 of those teams, you guys know exactly what is the deal. They haven't played just yet. Matrix as well as Hero, they can expect a little bit more from themselves a little bit later on, but they will have to take a short break in Group A. When Group C steps on in, Husky, do you expect them to... Yeah, sorry, go on, buddy.
No, I was waiting for your question.
Yeah,
I was nodding in agreement.
Do you expect them to be able to grab the win, or after seeing exactly what Group B has managed to bring to the table, do you think teams like Icon will be able to rise up to the top?
I think Group C will still give Group B a good challenge, but I don't think it will be a super dominant one, like kind of like a clean sweep. So this is our MVP for the map 1 and 2 combined. Of course, it is none other than Mios with 6 total kills and 4 total assists. This guy, game 1, we might not have seen too much of him as Icon did get knocked out in the mid game, but game 2 with that Booyah, Mios definitely showed up huge. And while we are kind of showering Icons with all these praises, we cannot forget about Epic. Sure, they didn't get the Booyah for game 1 and 2, but they have shown consistent performance. Both games, they placed second. First game, I think they got 15 or 16 points. Second game, almost the same. That's how they tie up with Icons on the leaderboard, at least for now. So Epic's definitely a team to watch out for, but they will be taking a short break. And as for Icon, the fight continues against Group C.
And it's just a matter of time before Epic just finds it in themselves to pick up a couple of booyahs as well, right? The constant, maintenance of your performance in the midsection of the board, it's not something that's super bad. In contrast to what we saw with Govilam Views in the Philippines challenges, where they are able to hit some of those booyahs really well, create some record in there with crazy number of kills, and then in the following rounds, absolutely bomb out, right? That's the kind of strategy, that's the kind of trend you don't really want to be hopping onto, because it really can take a toll on the mindset of the team itself, Husky.
Yeah, and I think moving forward into Group B and C, there's going to be a lot more volatility. At least that's kind of the initial expectations, right? When you have all these titans joining the battlefield at once. But you know what they say? Too many cooks in the kitchen, they do spoil the broth. And I think when you put so many tough contenders together, they might end up just ruining the balance of the competition, and in a good way, right? Because you will have this very one-sided, this very lopsided group that's constantly feeding on other teams, and it will just make Group A and Group B work harder. Maybe in the long run, we will see a bit more of a drastic difference in terms of how these teams approach the game. Remember, there is always going to be unexpected varieties because it is Free Fire after all. But we are jumping back into Bermuda for game number C, and this time it will be Group B against Group C, whereas for Group A, they get to sit back, relax, and watch the fight.
Well, let's see if or not they will be able to come back in with a lot more fire in matches number 5 as well as 6, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Once again, we hit that reset button with the map. Into Bermuda we go, and the introduction of Group C. And like you said, Husky, it might just turn out to be a situation where, the players from Group C, the teams from Group C just end up feeding on each other, right? The Battle of the Titans early on, and for all you know, Group B can soar up to the top. But of course, let all of those predictions lie to rest for a bit, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as we witness all of these teams pick their drop zones. And it looks like MND Die Hard, they are going to be quite comfortable. Nobody else going to be dropping in anywhere near them. AKO faces the same situation as well. Blacklist International, they will be able to find themselves a huge compound to take over and not really worry too much. But as for the one and only Icon, I believe they were about to come across Secret Expert, but very smartly, they back away as well. So close to no engagements early game for us to expect, Husky.
Yeah, very quick decision making. They drop at Kato listed one. Instantly, they all took the launch pad and just bolt out of the way. We just went towards the corner on the western side. Flex International, as always, we have seen them time and time again. This is their usual drop spot. They are almost always not contested, and when they get contested, they usually win the fight. And this is why teams who have seen Blacklist, since the beginning, don't really challenge them when it comes to Bermuda drop spot. And perhaps this is a good thing for Blacklist and all the other teams, so we won't see early deaths, and it gives these guys more time to kind of stock up and get ready for the rest of the game. But I do wonder if Group B and Group C will be a slower game, or will it be a bit more volatile compared to Group A and B?
Hopefully, AKO finds it to be a better one for themselves, because so far, the performance hasn't really been great. It's been waning a little bit. We started off with 11 points, and in the second match, they barely managed to pick up 10 points for themselves. And Mr. D just needs to find a way to find those long-range engagements a little bit earlier, right? They seem to be, doubting themselves a little bit too much, only sending out Mr. D, and once he gets punished, the team kind of just crumbles right after that. Icon, on the other hand, they have just been on a whole other level of confident in that second game, and that was quite different to the first match that they picked up as well. So inconsistent, but it's a good way to end that previous matchup, firing up that adrenaline pump within themselves to prepare for Group C, Husky.
Yeah, especially when you have to play 4 games in a row, that you definitely kind of need to get that engine rolling. And I think for Icon, they have already light up the flames, and it's more of just keeping it ablaze and not letting the breeze extinguish it. But let's kind of switch our attention a bit towards AKO Steady Squad's rival, which is Geek Fam, who will be competing. They did miss out FFAC and MCP Season 2, but they came back with generally the same roster as before. They did have one addition though, Man04. If you remember him from MCP Season 1, he was with Do Easy. Now, finally seeing him joining Geek Fam, I think that's a huge step up. But the question is, after being absent for more than half a year, do you think Geek Fam still has that in them, or do you think that the competition has evolved and Geek Fam can't really take it as easy as they used to?
Yeah, I don't think they can take it as easy as they used to, right? The meta of the game most definitely has evolved, and I'm surprised to see that NWG, New Gang, not taking that first hit, but, nothing more to be surprised, because Argon MY, as aggressive as ever. Here comes Afix as well as Sparks. They see the opportunity. They want to take it for themselves. Kenzie gets dropped once again, and Fikain can't do much about it. The flank is absolutely solid from Argon MY, and now Asif coming in to see if or not he can help out, and he will be the final player left in here. Pedro just turns around, and with the help of Afik, it was just way too easy for Argon MY to shut down that play way too early.
Yeah, and Argon MY just how we remembered them, right? They maintain, I think, 75% of their roster. You still see Sparks, you still see Pedro, and you still see Afik. Obviously, they have 2 new additions. They have Arabic and Chill, but generally, the essence of Argon MY is still there, and you love to see it. Argon MY, they did surprise us by quite a magnitude in MCP Season 2. They placed 9th in the league stage, and sure, they placed 9th in the grand finals, but in the first 2 weeks, no one thought that Argon MY were going to even make it, right? Because they were doing some pretty interesting maneuvers. So now this return is going to be another chance for Argon MY to prove that they deserve to be at the top of the competition.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just love the solid plays from them, right? And it's all about the train of improvement that Argon MY have been on. And that's why I was most curious to see how much have they grown, right? And with that clean wipeout that they have just taken and proven to us that they most definitely are in here to play the hardball game from the get-go, gives me a little bit of extra confidence. But of course, to answer your question as to whether or not Geek Fam's a little rusty, here they are, taken on the winners of the previous round, Icon themselves.
This is going to be an interesting one because Geek Fam, they did come in with one addition of a Man 04 from Too Easy, and they also have Orin, who is previously from Freedom Rumble. So even more aggression on top of what Geek Fam is already good at. And the question is, can they convert that into results? And we will see Orin putting on the pressure, pushing towards Flame, who does have a couple of glue walls to work with. That is going to immediately get taken down. You can see Geek Fam doing what they do the best, the most, and they are going to come in and converge on multiple angles. The Vector from Man 04 will finish off New Boys. There is no chance for any form of retaliation, but maybe Icon can find some scraps on the way out. Man certainly cannot because he's already down. Flame is completely sandwiched between multiple members of Geek Fam. He will try to take Orin down, but he has to immediately drop the glue wall, and he also gets pushed by Man 04 himself. That's already 3 dead on the side of Icon, and it seems like Geek Fam have answered the call. They take on Icon, and they instantly find results, but Icon are not down just yet. Man is back up on his feet. Mio holding the fort, trying to protect his teammate, and they are both now going to play behind this fence. Man 04 once more taking on the challenge, but this time gets punished. Mio with the grenade. He's going to take himself out. Oh, he didn't cook it enough. The timing was a bit off, and now Icon rests on the shoulders of Man, who will finish off Man 04, but he has to deal with Orin, and there is a third party. Secret Expert are joining the fight. Man has to get out of this. He does not have much left to give. 62 health is all there is. And of course, Park Haji will come in and Geek Fam will say goodnight.
I mean, I don't know whether they Rusty or Icon's just super good, right? Because they took that fight really well. Unfortunate for Mio. He did cook the nade well. He did throw it, but he had an opponent running towards him. And, heat in the moment, man. He ran straight onto his own nade and GG'd himself, right? And, of course, it will be an opportunity now for Secret Expert to continue this play and to throttle on all of those skills to pick on a fight with Aurora as well, as they have been caught right in front of them. Jimmy Quest in front, and he is really low on his health, but it doesn't seem like Secret Expert wants to force the issue. They want to pull off a flank on the other hand, which can get quite risky here, Skate.
Yeah, they did get 2 free kills, one on Geek Fam and one on Icons, and they were the reasons why Geek Fam and Icon are now sitting in the lobby. So in the grand scheme of things, both sides are the losers. They didn't end up winning too much. Just 2 kills on each. So slightly unfortunate for both Geek Fam and Icon. Definitely a hot and cold day so far, at least for Icon, since this is their 3rd game. But for Devora, we also haven't seen too much from them. They are kind of lagging behind in the second half of the page, at least for the first 2 games. But this time, they're taking on their group mates from Group B. And they decide to not engage at all, backing off towards Hangar.
And this is just the first day as they go out there and make some of these mistakes. It's overall good for them to make these mistakes so that they don't go out there and repeat it when it truly matters. Early stages of the competition, you don't really get to pick up a lot of points. You can make those adjustments. But of course, as I say that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Freedom Rumble, not making any mistakes whatsoever, as it will be the one and only Vegeta who finds that snipe early on onto a player of MND Diehard.
And of course, when you think of Freedom Rumble, you think of just pure, cold, hard frags. And that's what Freedom Rumble has always been known for. And sure, they started off as a team that we meme now and then because of their over-aggressive maneuvers, but they perfected that craft. And now they are no longer the team that people make fun of when they run into a battlefield. They are a team that people run away from when they catch a sight of them. And Mr. D out in the open gets sniped by Miro, and that is just not a place you want to be at. And of course, with that one knock, you can see Blacklist International, they're converging. Backup has to be swift from Ajin, but he cannot really find the angle. They do tag Phoenix, but unfortunately, they still are not able to save Mr. D as Blacklist International comes in and swoops that first kill away.
Yeah, I guess we can sign auto knockout off already because that was just a little unfortunate. Even in the previous round, Mr. D went down a little too early. The team got, much too soft. But then even with Mr. D in there as well, they still are struggling, man. Not so sure exactly what auto knockout has to do to find a little bit more momentum in here, but Blacklist International surely did not do them any favors whatsoever. Picking up the 3rd kill there onto Mr. D as they continue to move on in towards Bima Sakti Strip. One one stray shot straight towards them, but I don't think they're going to be paying too much of attention to it at all, Husky.
Yeah, I think for Blackers International, this is their comfort zone, right? They are perfectly fine with this. It is a debut with a slightly new roster, so. But I think the essence is still there. Sure, you can say that they have 2 new members, but those 2 supposedly new members are also from experienced teams. They have played alongside Blackers International as opponents. Well, now when you get these guys as your teammates, you really feel good about yourself. You are certain that this is the upgrade you want to go for, and I think Blackers International is putting that on full display. Whereas for Argon MY, they now will have vision of Secret Expert. Let's see what Spark and Cole wants to achieve. Ibnu will be the first one to get tagged, and he is out in the open alongside Fakaji. That was the team that took out Icon and GeekFam, but now they had to face the full force of Argon MY.
Yeah, Argon MY is not in the best of places. All 3 players taking cover inside of that watchtower. A couple of nades from the side of Secret Expert. It's all it's going to take. But the question is, how will Secret Expert close that gap between themselves as well as all of these players from Argon MY? You can take the aggressive maneuver by using all of your glue walls to close the distance. But the worst case scenario is being third-partied by a team. And, if they pull it off, Sorry Rock, who are just at the edge of that minimap, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, will be able to take advantage of them in the same way they took advantage of the team of Geek Fam as well as Icon early on.
And sometimes you just get a bit unlucky, right? You try to cross an open area and you get caught by a separate team. But in the case of Secret Expert, I don't think it's too tough of a predicament to get out of. There are certain solutions to that, and they've already solved it. He's on the other side of the freeway, so he will be the one who is isolated from the rest of his team. But as the game carries on, they need to find a way to break free of the script. Again, smoke grenades, glue walls, those are your 2 main utilities to kind of get taken out of that position. But judging by how the circle is closing in, they will probably have to take the fight against Argon MY eventually, whereas AKO Steady Squad will share a motorbike, of course, driven by Devorah around this vicinity. And you know what that means? AKO Steady Squad, they have to get ready for a potential flush.
Yeah, let's see if or not Deborah will come in here for the, oh my lord, aggressive push. Zero almost went in there and forced them off that bike, but it will just be Darren zooming around, still teasing them out of their enclosure. It is going to be the players of Auto Knockout Steady Squad cooking up that nade, trying to see if they can catch Neki. Zero trying to take the shots off against him as well, but the bike's just a little bit too fast and just on the edge of that safe, so no escape. Umbrella coming in very slowly as well. Blacklist International will be able to find the players of Freedom Rumble. Time Turner pulled out. No damage from the inside, and Black Ali gets knocked down by a quick nade from the side of FRU. And now here comes Neptune with a glue wall as well. Smart plays. The glue wall response comes through, but the nade out of nowhere, this time from Clowns, will be able to knock down Ali once again, Husky.
And of course, this Cobra left alone. We've seen him in this position a lot of times, but against Freedom Rumble, it is a tall task. I mean, Freedom Rumble have already done this in the best way possible, right? Flushing up Blackers International from their nest, and now Cobra is again in a 1v4 with a double vector. But unfortunately, I don't think the double vector has enough magazine to go through the entirety of FRU, and Cobra will be annihilated. Freedom Rumble with 5 kills under their belt as AKO Steady Squad gets wiped out by Devorah off screen.
It just took so many weeks of being a meme team to build up enough strategy as well as confidence for Freedom Rumble to be able to slay like they do right now. And now they are most definitely one of the top brands in the whole of the Free Fire Challengers Malaysia. But let's see if or not they can keep that momentum up. Argon MY, with their steady pace of improvement, they are already inside of that safe zone. But let us not forget the position they hold inside of that watchtower. All of them stacked up on each of other. They kind of need to find a different compound for themselves ASAP.
Argon MY are in a pretty decent spot, but I think the next circle will definitely force them to cross that freeway. But knowing Argon MY, they probably wouldn't move unless they are forced to. With Devorah, they just wiped out AKO Steady Squad, so that is the compound that they were able to claim for themselves. Unfortunately, they will now find themselves in the crosshair of No Escape Umbrella, as these guys are on the bridge, and Bills will take out Shinny. Unfortunately, there is no way to finish him off. this is gonna take a while for Devora to find a way to get into the circle, because it is so hard to get past all these suppressing fires, especially when Secret Expert is also on the other end. Devora might have met their end because of where they are, and there was nothing that they can do about it. 3 members of Devora already down, and their time pretty much limited.
Yeah, M&D Die Hard gets eliminated, and No Escape Umbrella, they are just gatekeeping the rest of the teams from the top of this bridge. And of course, as we say that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the players from Secret Expert right down there below them, just taking all of those shots from Aaron, not going down just yet.
Goodness.
And they hold on to one of the best spot, right? And that's why I just absolutely hate the spot where Argon MY is just holding on to Husky. They're just
Look
sitting
at Freedom
ducks. They
Rumble.
can't do anything.
Yeah, Freedom Rumble. They get the circle all to themselves. They down 2 members of Argon MY. They didn't get the kill, but now Argon MY will take a bit more time to recuperate, as they do eliminate Sorry Raw, and of course no Escape Umbrella now push just towards Secret Expert. They down 2 members, but they also get 2 of their members down. Kaz will now join the fight. It's going to be a close range bout between No Escape Umbrella and Secret Expert, and as of now, No Escape Umbrella definitely got the advantage by eliminating members of Secret Expert and losing none themselves. 6 kills is the number for No Escape Umbrella, but is it really no escape for the enemies though? Maybe Too Fast might get a taste of that, because No Escape Umbrella are now going to push towards Freedom Rumble into the circle. That's where Argon MY also joins in. Too Fast is going to continue to run back towards the team. Now Freedom Rumble are in full force. They're rejoined with each other. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to find much kills. Taken off screen will eliminate Secret Express. Taken himself goes down. Right now it's going to be Freedom Rumble taking on No Escape Umbrella.
Yeah, No Escape Umbrella now taking the fight on to all of these players from Freedom Rumble, knocking down Neptune first. It will be iPants with the Vector, and of course the response comes through, and Cass will be able to find Too Fast GG. Vegeta and Clouds pulls out the time turner in the nick of time. Vegeta with the assist with Neptune, and they will not be able to get taken down because of the smart plays of the time turner. Neptune, on the other hand, backs away, and now this is the opportunity for Argon MY to strike, and they pulled it off Husky. They sneaked in from that watchtower, getting knocked one after the other. They didn't really care. They used up their resources, but they sneaked the booyah away.
And unfortunately for Freedom Rumble, they actually got a couple of knocks onto Argon MY, but they didn't finish the job. And what they did not finish off came back and haunt them, and of course Argon MY with the booyah. But we saw Freedom Rumble go in second place with 10 kills to their name. Very reminiscent of the Freedom Rumble that we know, a very familiar number on their report card, so they can definitely be happy with that round result. It does think that they didn't get the win, but at the end of the day, the kills, they do make up for it.
Yeah, Argon MY just playing, everything that was stacked up against them to their advantage. Really smart plays in terms of just surviving, not taking the fight out to anyone, not stepping up, allowing every other squad out there to clean each other up, and coming in for that final showdown, just focusing on the game of survival from that watchtower. And that play was spotted out by quite a number of teams who did try to snipe them out, but nobody could close the gap between them as well as Argon MY. And the best team that was in the spot to take down Argon MY, Freedom Rumble, they kind of got distracted a little bit, and they wanted to focus in on their own play of that final zone itself. And Argon MY, they just got away with that play in that watchtower. And I don't think anybody expected them to sneak up on them that way.
Yeah, and all thanks to No Escape Umbrella, right? They were also on a roll.
Yeah.
They took on Secret Expert, and right after that, they converted that into a Freedom Rumble. So I would say at the end of the day, Freedom Rumble, sure they won, but they definitely were beaten and battered before Argon MY swooped in for the final kill. That probably wasn't much that Freedom Rumble could have done. It's a pretty great round. I think, Group C and Group B, this kind of panned out the way we expected. A lot more aggression from Group C. We saw Blacklist, we saw Freedom Rumble, we saw Argon MY, and in fact, the first 2 places, the top 3 of the round are all from Group C. So I think that really says something about this group.
It most definitely does, man. And No Escape Umbrella as well, really proving themselves out there. But the one outliers in this whole mix, Blacklist International, because it was initially a great opener for them, as they, I believe, took down Mr. D from afar, right, of AKO Steady Squad. But from then on, they really couldn't catch much of a breather for themselves. They got flushed out, going up against Freedom Rumble. Freedom Rumble just made very, very quick work of them. Escape.
Yeah, and that was pretty. That was perfect for Freedom Rumble as well. You wouldn't really expect it to go that one-sided, right? Maybe Blacklist could have gotten some kills. That would be the projected ending, but it didn't end that way. It was Freedom Rumble with the full wipe, and there was really nothing Blacklist could have done. But this will be the highlight for game number 3. Of course, we started off with New Gang completely getting outclassed by Argon, MY, and Mars Electric. We see this fight very intense between Icon and Geek Fam, and at one point Geek Fam was supposed to win, but Icon somehow held on, and you have this kind of a minor mistake from Mio that ended up taking himself out. But unfortunately, the tail end wasn't what these two teams expected. It was Secret Expert who came in and took 2 kills.
Yeah, it's all about the anticipation. I mean, you hear those gunshots, everything's just begging you to stand by and go in and third party that situation, right? Blacklist International, this was that fight which unfortunately they just could not hold on for long. Vegeta just shut down Cobra at the very last spot. And sorry Raw, as they got in towards that final zone, even they couldn't really do much against all of this firepower that was being dealt in there. And Devora, they were pressured by that safe zone. Nothing much that they could do against that, as well as they were flushed in by the zone. Everyone gate kept them, and No Escape Umbrella overall managed to bag quite a number of kills from that encounter.
And I'm really loving this new Freedom Rumble. They still have Vegeta, and they have Vegeta as kind of the anchor of the team. He is the only remaining resident of the original Freedom Rumble that we are so used to seeing, but they brought in Xbot, who was from Metrics, so a step up for him for sure. They brought in Too Fast, previously from Auto Knockout, if you remember that. So I think this new Freedom Rumble, they are combining the aggression from different teams together, and maybe some of these players haven't had the best results previously, but for this opening, I think it is just right. Argon MY in first place with the Booyah and 10 kills, 22 points. But Freedom Rumble, they are catching up closely in second place with 19. No Escape Umbrella with 15 points in third place. Secret Expert with 12 points in fourth place. Devora with 8 points in fifth place. And Kosori Raw will be in the sixth place with 6 points.
I guess this is the proof of how much Argon MY has grown overall, not just with the placement points, but especially with the kill points, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. They didn't just play the game of survival through to the very end. They were going in there for some of these engagements, which they won mechanically as well. And the improvement, the scale of improvement that they've taken from the previous competition is most definitely impressive. But the consistency from here on end, it most definitely will be demanding. Freedom Rumble just really sticking on by them, right, in that 19 points in the second spot. And No Escape Umbrella, although they did really, really well, they just couldn't get that final kill. And once again, Argon MY, they just outsmarted everyone with their positioning, Escape.
Yeah, and look at what is happening, right? We talked about the top 3 teams being hailing from Group C. Icon off to a pretty rough start, but it was kind of a byproduct of between their skirmish with Geek Fam. Both got ended by Secret Expert, so those 2 teams are at the bottom. AKO Steady Squad also having a really rough game. They lost Mr. D to Blacklist International. MND Diehard finally bagging their first 4 points after 3 games. And so that's kind of a step up in their books. But New Gang having it pretty hard, getting annihilated by Argon MY before they were even able to find their bearings.
Yeah, and you know, that was just an unfortunate encounter, right? Way too early in the game, not many resources on their hands, and they did not expect to be rushed down in that manner so early on, and they just couldn't recover because their players were just too spread out apart, and the rush that was coming in for their opponents, they were just way too, tight together. Argon MY, they just stuck by each other. Yes, we did see a couple of their players get knocked, but it was nothing too much of a trouble for them to swoop in, build up that glue wall, and pick them right back up. And overall, when we look at the opponents that they did manage to take down in that situation, it was more of New Gang just being very much as far apart from each other, right? And this was something they could have avoided because they did see some opponents dropping into the same spot as well. But, you know, mistakes are meant to happen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, at the early stages of the league. But Husky and I, we're going to take a quick short break. When we come back, and see if those mistakes do continue. A quick one, and we'll be right back with more of this.
White team, blue team, 2 minutes. To balloon to light. Take your time. Let's go.
Welcome to the new age! Booyah!
Let's go, Fire.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is the Free Fire Challengers Series Malaysia. My name's AJ. I'm the Mustachio down here with the one and only Husky, bringing you guys all of the action. And so far from Group C, they've more than surely kept up to the promise of being the group of death, with placing 3 of their teams in the top 3 in the previous matchup. And Argon MY definitely showing us that they have done everything that it takes to reach up to the top, and they've managed to shape up a good path for themselves. But now it's all about the game of consistency, because even like how Icon has managed to hit the previous match and not really do much in this time round, Argon MY might just be put into a similar situation as well, Husky.
Yeah, and I think for this round 2, we probably would see a bit of a step up. I think, you know, teams like GeekFan and Blacklist. Now I have my eyes on them. Previously, I say that Icon, I think I've seen enough, at least for day 1. Now, the focus shifts a bit. What about these teams who have traditionally put up pretty decent results overall, regardless of the circumstances? And of course, that kind of falls on the shoulders of GeekFam and Blacklist. I think GeekFam can be excused slightly, simply because they were caught in a pretty bad position. But for Blacklist International, that one was a bit more of a surprise if you are a Blacklist supporter, because they kicked off the round with a pretty good pickoff onto AKO, but they instantly got shut down by the likes of Freedom Rumble. And maybe we're just seeing kind of the one of the two scenarios possible for Group C, which is basically the top teams eating each other up.
And that's something that, you know, we should be looking forward to. And I'm very sure that's something that Group A and B is definitely praying for, right? Because some of these Titan groups, as they try to slice each another out of the competition, they will be able to find those opportunities to steal a couple of kills. It's like what Secret Expert did moments ago, right? It was a couple of good steals coming through, but unfortunately, you know, the luck doesn't run through very well. No Escape Umbrella overall with the positioning throughout that matchup, very impressive as they got in towards that final zone. And even as they were getting in towards that final zone, they just kept on to the edge of it just to gatekeep a couple of extra teams on the outbound, because it is all about those skill points that they want to be able to balance out for themselves as well as.
This is slightly off topic, but I just realized something. I realized that we are actually in space. So I look up there and all I see is the starry sky. So lovely. What was it? Okay, Van Gogh. Right, that's the name. Yeah, I got carried away. It's gorgeous, you know. It gets better every single season. I'm not gonna lie.
Absolutely, man. It most definitely does. Garena gets better every season. The budget gets better every season as well. Thank you so much, Garena. But in terms of the action, the teams keep stepping it up, man. I mean, Argon MY just proving it that they are able to improve every single step of the way. But as some of those teams improve, as some of those teams climb up, some of the rest, they tend to tumble down as well, right? And we want to focus in a little bit on Blacklist International. But the question here is this a foe? Are they actually tricking the other teams into thinking that once again, they don't really need to worry about this team called Blacklist International so that they can strike when it is truly needed? Because as what we saw at the start of this competition, the league stages definitely takes care of everyone in terms of the prize pool, but it's what they can bag at the grand finals teams like Blacklist International focusing on here, Husky.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be very fair, if you get the first place prize for the grand finals is basically 6 times the first place prize of the champions of the league stage. So you can be the champions of the league stage, but if a separate team gets the champions of the grand finals, they basically just win more than you. So that a lot is at stake. But I think the whole idea of a Blacklist International hiding their strats, that was prevalent to a certain extent last year, but I think they probably won't do that again. I feel like it is a bit impractical to keep that facade up, right? Like at some point you have to just show what you are capable of, and I kind of prefer Blacklist when they don't hold back. It's kind of a very ambiguous way to put it, but I like it when Blacklist doesn't try to hide something, you know. Especially when there are so many resident players already. I don't think there's anything to hide.
Well, drop zones are definitely one that you do not want those other teams to read, especially if you have got that huge target painted on your back already. And Freedom Rumble now getting a little lucky finding MND Die Hard. But Fast GG will be the first one to get sprayed down. And backup is just a little bit too far. Neptune on the ground as well. Trixie, what a hit. Deletes Neptune from the equation as well. Miles on the ground and Vegeta will be there to see if or not he can get something done. But instead of going in there for the kill, he prioritizes picking up 2 Fast GG for Sasuke.
And this is going to be pretty intense. I mean, MND Die Hard, they haven't done much in the first 2 games, and now finally they get a chance at a big break. Trixie again downs too fast, and Vegeta also in a pretty bad spot as MND Die Hard continues to slowly push on forward. There is the nade. Good shot by Vegeta as they are trying to get their teammate back up. Vegeta with the push gets another knockdown, and of course the backup is there from Clowns. The convergence from Freedom Rumble works out, and it will be MND Die Hard once more hitting the deck at the beginning of the round.
I feel bad for MND Die Hard, man. They almost bagged it against Freedom Rumble. And you know, looking at how Freedom Rumble is just so mechanically capable of just whacking everyone unconscious in this lobby, it was a stand-up performance coming in here from MND Die Hard. But, you know, that moment of happiness for them after getting that first knock onto Vegeta, onto Too Fast, and then of course the kill onto Neptune didn't really last long. Freedom Rumble, as usual, shining in battles like this. But they've already suffered one loss very early on, and I wonder exactly how much is that going to be disturbing or affecting their play as they make their way into the final zone. They cannot afford another battle against a big team, and if there's one thing we know in this particular match now, a lot of big teams still standing us here.
Yep. Well, for Freedom Rumble, they can rest assured that they will not be contested, at least for a pretty long time. Well, no Escape Umbrella having a pretty good round one. Well, they pretty good first game just now, placing third. Of course, starting at Foundation, have no one contesting, so no more hot drops in which we saw between Group A and Group B. Though I wonder which team is going to go towards that Refinery. That has always been the focus. Judging by the circle, Refinery probably would not be occupied for this game because it's a bit out of position in terms of moving towards the safe zone.
Deborah finding a couple of players from Secret Expert, but trigger discipline most definitely there. Deborah not taking those shots, and they will stay hidden. But they are tracking Taken, and Taken just seems to be facing a situation where the rest of his team members are saying bye-bye, you can catch up with us later on. So he needs to be a little careful with his movements out there on the battlefield. Devorah, although their trigger discipline is there, the moment they go in there for a knock, it will definitely start a huge fight, and Sacred Expert might just lose one man prematurely. But, you know, as they take this compound, they seem to have held on to couple of houses here for themselves and nothing much to worry about as they don't really have anyone hot on their tails.
Yeah, with Secret Expert, even though we didn't talk about them as much as the other teams, I think, you know, behind the scenes they are putting on some pretty decent numbers. Though there is one team that we haven't really touched on from Group C, that is Story Roar. We didn't get to see them as much as we would have liked in game number 2, in game number 3. So hopefully for this round, Kalahari, they will be able to show us a bit more. Because I think Sorry Raw, when they played for the first time in FFMC, they definitely were one of the few teams that we counted out early on. They did make it to the Grand Finals, but of course, in the Grand Finals, they ended up in 11th place regardless. So maybe this is going to be a fresh start.
Well, sorry, Raw, you asked for it, and here they come. It will be No Escape Umbrella taking them on. Not even knowing the Sorry Raw was there. A smart time turner being pulled out, and Error just steps on in there. And that was most definitely an error as he gets knocked down onto the ground. iPens will be able to respond, and it's a smart comeback here. Sorry Raw recovering with the double glue wall being pulled out, but the nade and the backstab. iPens goes down, and it is the one and only Jan now looking for that final player. And Sorry Raw manages to wipe all 4 of them out.
And just a good opening, just as we want to see Sorry Raw put out some numbers, we immediately see that. As they get a full wipe, they only lose one guy, so the grand scheme of things, it is definitely a trade well worth. Blacklist International, they just picked up 1 kill from New Gang. They might get more as a feature, and he is also on the ground with backup just way too far. That is going to be kill number 2 going over to Blacklist International. The rest of New Gang trapped on top of the mountain. They have no business taking on Blacklist. So both teams, they will disperse with Blacklist coming out as the winner.
Yeah, on top of that is the danger zone for New Gang to worry about. And they're just hoping and praying that they will be able to find a little bit of cover. And he can sneak under this bridge, but the danger zone clears off. Nothing much for them to worry about, except for Auto Knockout, who's just, you know, leisurely just sitting down inside of Refinery, seeing if or not anyone will come in there and challenge them. They are holding on to the lower grounds, though, Husky. And that might just turn out to be better for them as New Gang holds onto this spot. When they jump off, Auto Knockout will be able to take them out really easily. But Freedom Rumble now from the corner of that minimap might just be challenging Auto Knockout a little bit early, and Moon will be able to take that kill onto Vegeta, and they put the hurt onto Freedom Rumble. Time Turner pulled out by Ajim from across. Kenzie tries to take advantage of the situation. AKO going in for a full-on wipe onto the players of Freedom Rumble.
Yeah, in Freedom Rumble, they already got crippled early on, and now having to take the fight up against AKO Steady Squad, it's definitely not easy. Thanks to MND Diehard, Freedom Rumble are not in the best shape. They don't have the full squad. So this will definitely be a tougher fight for AKO Steady Squad. It's going to be a 3-1 formation with that one member from AKO holding off New Gang, or the rest will try to at least take care of Freedom Rumble. But they have to be careful though, because Freedom Rumble, there's definitely no pushovers. Look at that. Ajim already being brought down to low health, has the glue wall to keep himself alive, and now Freedom Rumble, they will make the call to push on and amp up the aggression. Clouds actually gets the knock onto Ajim, and this is pretty smart play for Freedom Rumble. They're utilizing all of the windows and doorways to put on the pressure onto AKO and catching them off guard too fast, misses the shot, but Clouds is there to back him up. They will still lose too fast though, unfortunately, and Clouds only has 40 HP left. Can he win this 1 versus 2? There is a nade in the hands of the members of AKO Steady Squad, and Cloud, he will now be chased down. Does have a couple of glue walls to work with, one more nade in his hands, but that's going to be pretty much it. AKO Steady Squads will finally finish what they started. They learned that lesson previously, and they do not want to repeat that mistake.
It just doesn't look good for AKO. Every single round, Mr. D getting
he's
taken down
caught.
early. Oh my lord! And he managed to steal it. And Grand Theft Auto. Cloud says bye-bye.
My goodness. Just when you thought Freedom Rumble are out, they're not. A bit of a...
They literally got out.
Yeah, kind of a careless mistake from... Well, wouldn't say a mistake, but... unlucky for AKO Steady Squad to let Clowns drive away. But, you know, in the bigger picture, AKO Steady Squad, they can settle with that result, I suppose. Freedom Rumble only has one guy left, and that guy is going to be Clown. So you won't see much of Freedom Rumble for the rest of the round.
Secret Expert holding on to a watchtower, and the players just picking up the roof of this compound as well. Nothing much for them to worry about right now. No other teams in the vicinity, but it never hurts to always keep an eye out for your surroundings to see if or not you are going to get backstabbed as you set yourself up for the next safe zone. And for the time being, Secret Expert, they are just trying to maintain their inconspicuous run in this particular lobby, not making too much of noise, not dragging a lot of attention to themselves. Icon, on the other hand, you know, one great round overall in the day, and this is their opportunity to finish off strong. And let's see if or not they will be able to find it within themselves. Blacklist International, full squad still in here, might be able to find Icon from across this body of water.
Yeah, Blacklist International pretty quiet this round. But like you said, they are across that river. And the team in front of them will be Icon. But the team in front of Icon is a Blacklist. It is Secret Expert, who has been putting out decent numbers. But of course, against Icon, it will be a challenge on another level, as New Boys will get the knock onto Nga. And you can see that Pak Haji, he is trying his best to cross the street. But you can't just cross when you have Man watching that angle, and that will be 2 members from the side of Secret Expert already knocked down. It might be more though, because Icon, with those 2 knocks, they're now going to start slowly inching towards that compound with Flame playing from long range with that rifle. This is going to be tough for Secret Expert, and you can see that they are regrouping, they are healing themselves back up. And as for Icon, they're actually not going to push too much. They will just hold their position as they were.
Sorry, Raw. They have an opportunity now. The players of Devora are right down there below. And the weird thing about Free Fire, those at the lower ground, when they look up, it's slightly easier to take that headshot on you. So Imira just needs to be really careful if she does go ahead and expose herself to take a couple of those shots from that higher ground. Donkey, on the other hand, with a really good flank coming through, and he might just be the one who has the biggest advantage here. And he does have the Yeti in there to protect him from some of these blasts as well. So he's got the best spot right now in that battle, Husky.
Yeah, but if he makes it work out, it's going to be awesome. But for Blacklist International, not too good of a start. A knock early on, courtesy of AKO Steady Squad, will break Miro, at least take him down. So forcing him to expend some of that medkits to heal himself back up, as Blacklist International continues to hunker down. They have Icon across the river. They have Argon MY coming in as Exag does take out New Boy off screen. But now we're looking at Sorry Raw as they finally make that move to get into the circle. Unfortunately, they were not able to get any drop onto the members of Devora, so they will have to run straight into Devora and kind of brute force their way through. The bright side is that there's only one member in front, and if you can get him out of the way, then for the Sorry Raw, we have a better chance.
Oh, but look at this Secret Expert. Now, they are the biggest winners because they've got this bird's eye view on Sorry Raw as well as Devora, and they are the biggest winners if they can hit those shots. But at the very same time, they will be making a lot of noise from that roof, and that also makes them a couple of sitting ducks for that backstab, right? So they need to play their glue walls really smartly in this situation. And Secret Expert, they will just choose to continue to gatekeep all of these rest of the teams as they hold on to their safe zone very, very neatly.
The circle continues to be in their favor as they are holding off the entire north side. You have Icon towards the southeast, but Icon are clashing with Geek Fam right now, so it is going to be either or. You can see this overview of the state of the game. You see that most of the teams are on the northern side, and rightfully so, because that's where majority of the circle is located. But now Icon finally will meet that challenge in the form of Geek Fam head on, and this time in an official bout. One team will definitely go down as Geek Fam initiates the push. Flame, he's hiding in this corner. I'm not sure how long he can hide though. Forced to jump out to the first floor as Icon continues to navigate themselves left and right. Mio will need to take some time to keep himself back out, but the grenade launcher actually connects onto Oren, so that is going to buy Icon a bit more time to work with. They have to close out this fight as soon as possible though, because Blacklist International is nearby. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Sorry Raw will take the initiative and go in for the push, but unfortunately, two of the members go down. Donkey will be the last survivor as he continues to sprint towards the safe zone. Can't really look back, cannot turn back, and he is in a horrible spot. Sorry Raw falls as the run will conclude. Meanwhile, Secret Expert now will have their crosshairs on the members of Devora.
And now Devora, they are able to take down one player from Secret Expert Fest as he just is a little bit too far away from the rest of them, and that just puts this into a 3 versus 3 situation. Devora now getting rushed down as well. Blacklist International, on the other hand, just taking place under this bridge, and nobody will be able to find them. Nobody is around them at the moment.
Oh, the landmine!
Oh my lord! What a takedown with the landmine, Geek Fam. And now that just allows them to run over all of these players from the side of Icon. New Boy's just being hunted down by Oren, and he should be able to find him behind this glue wall. And that just seems to be the end of the team of all Icons, at least for New Boys.
Yeah, unlucky for Icon. I'm not sure where the landmine was placed. I'm guessing at a doorway, because that really screwed up Icon. And now Blacklist International is also leading the charge in terms of skills. Secret Expert still taking on Devora as Argon MY gets eliminated by Geek Fam. It seems like the top teams that fell early on are really stepping up against Blacklist International against Geek Fam. This is the showdown they've been waiting for. Ali, Miro, and Phoenix on the side of Blacklist representing one of the top teams, taking on Geek Fam. The grenade launchers are coming through. Phoenix somehow takes out Orin for Ali. He has fancy feet. The grenades do not connect. Blacklist International with 10 kills under the belt, and they're looking for more. Geek Fam on the back foot with only 2 members compared to Blacklist, who has 3. Victory from the right. Ali gets sniped, but Phoenix takes down Exact with the grenade launcher. Miro now peeks out. Victory has the glue wall to work with, but it is still a 2 versus 2. Who will win this out? So do the job. One last grenade launcher, one last explosion, and it is booyah for Blacklist International.
You know, just when questions were being asked, they hit right back. Ali, Phoenix, Miro, as well as Cobra, showing that nothing is gonna stop them when they want to pick up that booyah. They most definitely will get it. Kau tengok gambar cewek gak punya ibu ya? There you If you see him put up a photo, it's his mama's photo.
Yeah, I think he was listening closely to the broadcast, and he doesn't want us to think like you think it's his sister. I think it's his girlfriend. Power of love. I think that's the general theme, right? We're gonna keep it at that. But we see Geek Fam and Blacklist. They shot right to the top from the bottom of the round standings, just off of one round, and that's basically experience speaking for itself, regardless of whether there is a huge roster shuffle or not. The veterancy of these players will always show itself when they need it the most. And as for Geek Fam and Blacklist, even though Blacklist won the round, Geek Fam made a statement after returning from kind of a half a year break.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. And I just feel like that matchup was just Blacklist International going out there to make a statement to say we don't really need those wins. If you really want to see us try, then other teams are going to just end up crying all throughout the way, right? Because it's just such a dominant play from them. And of course, the biggest playmaker in that particular matchup wasn't any player. It was the grenade launcher once again, Husky.
Yeah, you just have to give it to the grenade launcher every time. Though I have to point out once more, I have no idea how Blacklist International kind of survived the initial barrage from Geek Fam, because you saw that there were actually a couple of nades from the grenade launcher that somehow did not do damage to Ali. So this guy, he is built different. He knows how to weasel his way around those grenade launchers. And Blacklist International, I think they got like 13, 14 kills. We are gonna find out when the round standing pops out later on. But man, this is a statement from Group C overall.
It most definitely is, right? And is this a huge warning from Blacklist International to Geek Fam to continue to step things up? Because yes, you may be rusty, but even when you come out to perform, you're still unable to bag it against the current champions. And Blacklist International will, I believe, continue to prove that in some matches. I do not expect them to continue this sort of a performance all throughout the league stages. I believe, it's just been a trend for Blacklist International to continuously go in there and research. They just do their homework in each and every single one of these rounds in the league stages, and they actually took that advice from Geek Fam. That's exactly what Geek Fam used to do. I mean, they just used to split off into duos, drive around the map to seek out exactly which sort of compound is being held out by which teams, and jumping into battles that just didn't make sense whatsoever. Why? Because they were just sharpening their mechanical skills against the other best of the best out there from the land of Free Fire, just to prepare themselves for the grand finals, right? And Blacklist International is just taking that play out of their playbook and just playing it so much better.
Yeah, and I think Blacklist International, if we look at the first time these two teams actually clashed, it was MCP Season 1. That was a year ago. And Blacklist International, back then known as Baby Argon, was kind of living in the shadows of Geek Fam. And sure, they won the league stage due to some unforeseen complications, but at that time, Geek Fam was still the best team. But that was the last time we saw Geek Fam dominate. Afterwards, it was just Blacklist all the way. I mean, if you want to put it into perspective, look at Cobra. The first time we saw him, he had that cute baby face. I mean, he still has that baby face now, but he dyed his hair. His hair length is a bit longer, but he is still as sharp as the first day we saw him. Just the superstar of the team.
Boys to men, literally, right? And we can see the players grow. We can see some of these teams grow. And, there's most definitely this growth curve that the other teams who are in here for the first time can look towards and perhaps find to use to motivate themselves if they are at the bottom of the leaderboard right now. Because it's not just about one competition, it's not just about one tournament, it's about how much can you improve and how can you get to the top one day. The main ingredient here is just never giving up, because teams like this, for example Geek Fam, Blacklist International, they didn't shoot up to the top in just one competition, Aski.
No, absolutely not. I think before Blacklist became kind of the second contender, Geek Fam, through blood, sweat, and tears, was able to maintain their dominance for a really long time. But this is going to be the highlight for round number 4. Certainly one of the more eventful highlight reels that we have seen this evening. Just multiple kills, left, right, and center. You see wonderful flanks, wonderful pushes, and of course just tactical brilliance from all of these teams. Freedom Rumble demonstrated that. No Escape Umbrella also put on a fight of their own against Sorry Raw. And even though they lost out, you can see that No Escape Umbrella were not afraid to take on their enemies, no matter who they are.
Oh, absolutely. But, they should have been afraid at that point, because, sometimes you need to know exactly when to back away from a battle, right? Freedom Rumble, unfortunately, faced a situation like that as they were going up against Auto Knockout. But thankfully, they were able to back out of that situation victorious, right? And Sorry Raw, they continued their run in towards that final zone. And it was just chaotic because a lot of those teams were still surviving at this point, Husky.
Yeah, and I think the fight between Freedom Rumble and AKO Steady Squad really came down to just too fast getting the kill or not. If he got the knock, I think Freedom Rumble would have clutched that fight. But of course, what has happened has already happened. You see Ali, he dodged all the grenades. I don't know how he did that. Blacklist International just completely overwhelming Geek Fam. Not with sheer numbers, but with just tactical prowess. And at the end of it is Blacklist with 13 kills and a booyah. That's going to total up to 25 points by the end of match number 4, putting Blacklist International in a convincing lead in the first place. Geek Fam with 17 points in second, followed by Secret Expert with 14 points in third place, Freedom Rumble with 10 points in fourth place, Devora with 7 points in fifth, and Kalahari and Argon NY both get 6 points.
And of course, AKO Steady Squad with the miserable outcome from the day, still continuing 5 points overall in that 8th position. Icon this time just slopping right back down, unable to maintain the consistency from that match number 2 that they had between themselves as well as Group A. And No Escape Umbrella in the 10th position with 1 point, equaling MND Die Hard as well as New Gang, as they all rank at the bottom of this lobby. But of course, that's match number 4, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, between Group B and C. And it is the final round for Group B. They do not get to perform much more. Group A will say hello to Group C, and this is going to be the first time they take up each other now.
Yeah, absolutely. But as match number 4 draws to a close, let's take a look at the map recap of all the matches that we've witnessed so far. We kicked off the evening with Bermuda between Group A and Group B. Secret Expert got the first booyah, followed by Icon, who managed to Baghdad and Kalahari. Then we move on to Group B versus Group C. Argon NY with a convincing win on Bermuda. And just now we witnessed Blacklist International getting the booyah on their best map. And it's just great to see the heroes back to their comfort zone. This is Blacklist International's playground, and they continue to dominate. 2 more maps stand in the way, and it's going to be back to Bermuda Kalahari, but this time we get Group A versus Group C. So before we go into the final 2 matches, this is the overall standings. As things are, Group B have played all 4 matches for this evening. Secret Expert in first place with 50 points, followed by Icon in second with 32, Blacks International in third place with 30 points, Freedom Rumble in fourth place with 29, Argon NY and Devora both getting 28 points, sharing the 5th place, Epic with 26 points in 7th, AKO Steady Squad with 25 points in 8th place, and Geek Fan with 20 points in 9th place.
Well, Duo Barade, they are in Group A. Yes, they do sit down in the 10th spot right now, but they will have 2 more rounds for themselves, just like Team Princess, to come back in here and show us exactly what they have. And will they be able to continue to climb up the board? We will see. No Escape Umbrella, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, in Group C. Same situation. They've got 2 more matches. New Gang from Group B. Now, this is a reason for concern. They do not go in here to have any more matches in to pick up any points for themselves. So it's an unfortunate situation overall. 16 points, they end the day. Sorry, Raw sitting down there in the 15th spot with EWG in that 14th spot. 1 point between them. Team Hero in that 16th position with the 10 points. Metrics with 8 points overall in that 17th spot. And MND Die Hard with 5 points overall. And they have got all 4 of those matches completed already. So if New Gang is sad, MND Die Hard is absolutely miserable right now from the day 1 of their matches as well as performance metrics. Yes, they sit down in the 17th spot with 8 points, but 2 more rounds in here to prove themselves yet again, Husky.
Yeah, and of course, as Group B sign off for this evening, huge props to Secret Expert. And sure, they did get the very first, the opening booyah of FFCM, but also you can see they didn't get much kills, but they're pretty good with their placements. This is why they're in first place, but it might be a reason of concern in terms of kills as the league progresses. But as of now, let's give the MVP trophy for map 3 and 4 over to Vegeta. We have always seen him perform ever since he stepped foot onto the realms of competitive Free Fire, and this is no exception. 7 total kills, 2 total assists, and he is the driving force when it comes to Freedom Rumble's aggressive maneuvers. And I think that really has been a contagious element, because the entirety of Freedom Rumble is always about playing aggressive, and back then it's just aggressive. Now it's aggressive and creative, and all thanks to this guy, being one of the driving force, one of the backbones for the team.
And you know what? It's not the end of them just yet, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You know, Blacklist International, Freedom Rumble, as well as Argon MY, just with 2 matches, they've managed to squeeze into the top 5 already. And that's the impressive part about Group C. And they still have got 2 more games to go on in here. And yes, although Secret Expert have maintained their consistency, the probability of now being overtaken by these brands most definitely is there, right? Because of the point that you just spoke about just moments ago, they seem to be focusing way too much on their placement points. And although it's a great way to guarantee yourself a spot at the grand finals, it's not going to be enough to climb up the leaderboards. But of course, that might not be the intention for Secret Expert. If it is not broken, why go ahead and fix it? So far, everything seems to be going exactly how the way they want, it seems, Husky.
Yeah, and Secret Expert just already demonstrated the whole factor of being a team that works behind the scenes. We actually didn't talk about them much, at least about them being the front runners, and here they are capping off the day with 50 points. So that is pretty impressive in itself, and even if they get overtaken, it is still okay, because they have to make it up with kill points somehow. But in terms of qualifying, they most likely will get a slot if they keep this up. There's still a lot more weeks to come, so Secret Expert can't really even begin to think about slacking off yet. They still have to maintain this performance. But for Group A against Group C, this might be pretty interesting. Group B, there are some front runners, right? You have AQ Steady Squad, we saw Icon, Secret Expert, but Group A, Epic is the only team so far that has shown us some sort of fight. But maybe Duo Barade, maybe Metrics can also bring out something that we don't expect. Because whenever we least expect, upsets to happen, they always happen. And maybe Group A can be the Group C Slayer.
Maybe, right? Maybe, but it just doesn't seem to be that way based on, how the leaderboards is set up right now, how much, Group B was just a little bit more dominant. And when we compared Group B versus Group C obviously took the cake instantaneously. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, our predictions aside, let's see exactly how things break down on this classic old Bermuda map as Group A comes back from their rest to take on the supreme group of the competition so far. Group C with a stacked up Argon MY, Blacklist International, Freedom Rumble, Geek Fam, No Escape Umbrella, as well as Sorry Raw. Like you said, Husky, the ones that are most probably going to be making a mark right now is Epic. But the question is, will they even get epically taken down from the early get-go and just have the whole of the Group A wiped out in the early stages?
This is where we find out the answer to that question. But what we do know is Blacklist, again, back to peak they go. It is their hometown. At this point, it feels like no one is even going to bother trying contesting Blacklist International at peak, right? It's just like how they take control every single game. I think Bermuda, I can't really remember on Kalahari where they drop. It's definitely not Foundation, but they are also uncontested. So overall, I think Blacklist have already cemented themselves as a team to not be trifled with early on, and you really don't want to take a risk against unless you really have to. Geek Fam will assume control over Clock Tower. We saw Icon early on, the first team to drop out of the plane on that eastern side of the map, so they're definitely uncontested. But Team Princess will run into Dua Berade, and it seems like it is either going to be the brothers who fall or the princesses, and both teams, they got a knock each, but those 2 members will be brought back up.
Oh, but just look beyond the map, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. The players from No Escape Umbrella, they do hear the gunshots, but they're not making their way here just yet. Dua Berade with the quick flank coming through from Rish. He needs to be really careful here. No nades in his hand, so he can't really go in there for that long-range engagement. Kaiser, on the other hand, just playing things really slow. And Dua Berade, they seem to be backing away from this encounter. They don't really want to push their luck. And the Princess, it looks like Team Princess has got the exact same idea. And we might just have to wait to see exactly how this fight continues later on in the game, Husky.
It seems like warning shots were kind of the whole scenario between these 2 teams, right? As Dua Berade decided to be the bigger man, at least for now, and back off. but there's not much ground for them to retreat to. It's plain ocean behind them. So they probably would just wrap around the long way to sneak past Team Princess at Observatory. But you can see Team Princess, they're actually moving out, utilizing the launch pad to catapult just away from Observatory. So Dua Berade now, they will have more space to work with.
Oh my lord, look at the flank coming through. They are just trying to cut off Dua Berade, but the hero getting shut down by Sorry Raw. And now Sorry Raw, the biggest winners in here, and it doesn't look like the heroes will be able to get out of this. Rembo, the one final player now, holding down behind of that signal tower, and he gets knocked down onto the ground as well. Rembo, Donkey, this is 2 versus 1 situation, and yeah, it's just a dream now for him to hope and pray to get out of this situation. It's just impossible, Husky, as Sorry Raw wraps up the 4th kill on this team.
Caught off guard was the story of that 30-second sequence. Hero ran uphill and instantly ran into Sorry Raw, who were more than ready to bag a couple of free points. And now it's just to find some medkits and top Donkey's health back up. This is a great start for Sorry Raw for any team, if you delivered 4 free kills.
Now, of course, they have taken it on 18 from Group A. Will that continue to be the story of the day? Is Group C feeding on all of these players? We've got 2 rounds to find out if or not that is just going to be the way. Freedom Rumble, very close to the players of No Escape Umbrella, and that potential gunfight might not break down since they both have got the safe zone. So no particular reasons to start moving on towards the players of Team Princess, who are holding on to the middle of the next zone at Katulistiwa. Kaz just moving away from his team members, getting a little uncomfortably close to the players of Dua Berade. Akim's holding on to a very far angle, I believe, at the watchtower where we did spot him earlier on. And the guy hasn't moved a muscle, Husky.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of info given over to him. So let's see if they can convert that into an advantage, or at least plan out their route. The circle that we've been getting today are pretty much skewed towards one side of the map. We haven't really gotten like a centralized circle. I think all of them were either to the far north, northeast, or the far northwest. This round is no exception. No Escape Umbrella will be playing around Bullseye. We see Freedom Rumble at the corner of the radar, but I don't think they will run into each other anytime soon. Knowing Freedom Rumble, these guys, they hardly split up. They are a unit. They are a SWAT team, and it will stay that way.
Freedom Rumble at Plantation, and the almost encounter with No Escape Umbrella just does not seem to come to fruition. No Escape just escaping this encounter for a little bit longer. It's just a matter of time before Freedom Rumble will find a couple of kills. They are always hungry, always on the hunt. And I'm just curious to see when will they start getting those vehicles and driving around, because that's the time where you really know Freedom Rumble's out for the hunt, where they just want to earn those kill points, not really focused on the placements at all. And this is just not that point in the competition just yet. They're still very wary of where they are. They want to find a little bit more of a comfortable position before they start going wild.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for Freedom Rumble, it is always about when do you start the engines. And Freedom Rumble, they are kind of a team who, once they get going, they want to go all the way. But the good thing about this team over the year was that they have found a way to install brakes into the accelerator, so they know when to stop, they know when to reset. And that's something that has been a challenge for Freedom Rumble for the first half of 2021. This is why Freedom Rumble has continued to rise up as a main contender. But for metrics, they are contending against Black International, and with that nade that kind of bounced off the signal tower, it's not going to end well. Phoenix getting the drop onto Ryan. Look at that Cobra! Oh my goodness, he's already in the front line. Black International moving fast and swift as always, and Ribbon, he has to hold the fort all on his own. But with Cobra and Phoenix coming in, Ribbon will have to box himself in with that glue wall, and it will not stand for long. Cobra just blasts through it. Troop does down Miru, but can he at least get a finisher before he goes down? He can. Metrics at least ends the round with 1 point, but Blacklist, they get 3.
Smart plays by Blacklist once again. And it was quite the clean wipeout if they didn't lose Miro in that situation, just getting a little overexcited with the way they were overrunning their opponents. And they lose one prematurely. I don't think Blacklist International is going to be too happy with that, but it is a situation they can hold on to. And they might be able to bag the best out of this if Team Princess manages to get into a fight with Geek Fam right now. Blacklist is in the perfect situation to third party both of them and steal a couple of kills away. But as I say that, the exact opposite might just happen. Team Princess now are in the crosshairs of Blacklist International.
And Blacklist International, contrary to Freedom Rumble likes to keep the ball rolling. Blacklist International, they like to take it one step at a time, and probably for the better. Team Princess will be at the edge of Katalistewa, and we can see Freedom Rumble still hanging around the plantation area, but we will see them in between No Escape Umbrella and also Blacklist International. So Freedom Rumble, let's see which direction they want to go towards. Last we checked on the radar, they are most probably going to head towards No Escape Umbrella. So maybe this is where we see Freedom Rumble start that engine.
Let's see. There's potential for them as well to just get third party. Not the greatest of positions, so everybody just has to stay calm. Everybody has to play information smart. Oh my lord, chill. Just running straight in towards Fikri, who shuts him down. But a great response coming through as Fikri gets knocked down. But who's going to be able to save Chill in here? Oh goodness me. The glue wall just in the nick of time by Spark, but he instead gets sprayed down. Nate coming through. Man04 pulls out the time turner at the very right moment, and he doesn't get taken down. Aggressive plays coming through from the one and only Pedro, who tries to go in with the double vectors, but now two players, Oren just behind him, and he will be able to knock down Man04, and Pedro with the survival pulls out the glue wall in the nick of time once again, but Oren is there for the backup, and Geek Fam will be the victors of this fight, as they're just a little bit better when it comes to backing each other up. Afik just way too far away to make any sort of an impact in this fight, Husky.
Yeah, and Geek Fam overwhelming Argon MY with sheer force. That's going to be 3 kills that they pick up for themselves without much resistance from Argon MY. And that will send their opponents packing and running away with their tails between their legs. But oblivious to what has just transpired is EWG, as they are slowly making their way right towards Geek Fam. This is going to be pretty interesting because EWG, they have the high ground advantage, but will they take on the fight against Geek Fam? You can see that Mantai, he is going to take the long angle just to have more coverage, and he's already seen some members on the side of Geek Fam, so that means that EWG wants this, and they want it now. Mantai open up with Man04, Monito sneaking through as a brush, this camouflage by workout, he's behind the glue wall. Geek Fam, I don't know if they see it, I don't think they do, but Monito is going to decide to retreat as he's going to play that high ground advantage, but Fall, he went straight into Geek Fam, and he's going to get punished. The nade from the high ground though, not really connecting, and Fall is gonna fall 6 feet under. Jay-Z from the western side will try to provide a bit of backup, but unfortunately the formation fell apart for EWG, and Geek Fam were able to stabilize the situation.
Mantai, he was in the best position to bring a lot of impact into this fight, and he most definitely did with one knock, but no follow-up coming through from the side of EWG. And although they had that one-man advantage, seems to have lost it already with the unfortunate fall of the one and only Fall. And EWG says, enough of this nonsense. They are backing out of this fight, but potentially directly in front of Argon MY, they might end up asking.
And after all of that effort, it really felt like EWG could have done something more. But reality of it is, they might have been a bit of a miscommunication between Fall and the rest of the team. We saw Monito being really sneaky, Mantai being really sneaky, but Fall, he was just a bit too aggressive and it costed him his life. But EWG, they walk away from Geek Fam and now they run straight into Team Princess. So another challenger up ahead, but this one is going to be a challenger that they have to get past.
Let's see if or not they will be able to do that. EWG with the vantage point, but Team Princess, they will be able to hit these snipes. Headshot too easy for Lux GZ. And now Blacklist International from the back. JC just peeking out, allowing them to take a free kill on him. Bad idea, my boy. And Blacklist International, hearing all of those shots, might be able to take advantage of this situation. EWG loses JZ and the rest of them inside of this compound. They can't really go out there and respond. They don't really want to take an aggressive maneuver.
And that is going to allow Team Princess to now push the advantage. This is the first few times we see Team Princess being the aggressors. And against EWG, who are mortally wounded and only with 2 members left, Team Princess is just going to try to run them down. And with that UAV propped up as well, it seems like Team Princess are making the correct move. Not only are they driving EWG away, they're also making sure that they gatekeep East Wolfgang at the edge of the circle. But EWG, they know that they can't run any farther because GeekFam is going to be the next opponent. Good time turner to negate the damage of the grenade. Monito also spotted out as EWG decides to split up. Team Princess decides that they don't want to chase out too far. They don't know what is out there and beyond, so they will fall back into the comforts of the safe zone.
Did I just see Cobra on the Car 98? When did this guy start taking those long-range attacks? Ali now with the long-range encounter as well will be able to find one player of Sorry Raw, but Jan manages to back away from that situation. They are all healed up now, but Sorry Raw holding on to the edge of the dam. And we kind of saw this in one of those previous rounds where the circle just made it so impossible for those players to access that side of the dam. But Blacklist International, with the way they are going in here, they're not going to allow that same situation to creep up on them. The instant flank coming through now, Husky.
Let's see if Sorry Raw can climb their way up. If Blacklist plays correctly, it will be really hard for them to even step foot onto the bridge. And that is barring if any there's no team kind of backstabbing Blacklist International. So far, Ali has a good grasp of where his enemies are, so I don't think they will be too bothered. This was the place where Dua Berade had their last stand in game number 1 against Secret Expert. We'll see if that's going to be the same case this time. Neptune does get taken out. Freedom Rumble running into the crosshairs of Cobra as GeekFam. They did lose Orin early on, but now they are finally going to push that aggression right into Team Princess. Can they do this though? Man04 has the nade, knows that one person is hiding behind the glue wall. That will be Jiminho. Second nade, bouncing off the glue wall, not getting a kill. One from afar into the building, also not getting any tags, but it does flush the members of Team Princess out. Fikri from afar, taking out Alpha XR. That is going to break the formation of Team Princess, and now GeekFam will commence the pincer maneuver that they are all so familiar with, trying to at least suffocate Team Princess. But as of now, Team Princess still hold on. In fact, Jiminho will retaliate, taking down Exac, and Man04 does not have time to bring Exac back up. He will have to surrender him, and there is his own landmine takes him out, and GeekFam gets stopped dead in their tracks due to their own actions.
Yeah, the question is someone going to be stealing this kill off of Man04? And it looks like Jiminho's not there in time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Fikri from up top. There's nothing much he can do in the situation already. And he will just have to wait for his fate and perhaps just steal a few of those placement points. Jan in here from Sorry Raw, still surviving in this fight against the players of Blacklist International. An epic out of nowhere. Ziga dropping in versus 2 players. And he will not be able to take him down. Ziga turns around close range, and I think a no-scope as well, and he gets picked up. Kepa, smart play.
Oh my goodness, he ran out of bullets right as he jumped over that glue wall. He only had one in the chamber because he needed that one bullet. Could have done with 2, but he didn't want the members of his enemies to get picked up, so missing that shot was a tragedy. But now we look at No Escape Umbrella taking on Dua Berade. Dua Berade is going to run straight because the blue zone is forcing them to do so. iPass does have their glue wall, and that's going to mean Kaiser has nowhere to go. Rich on the other side taking on Bill, so he's bobbing and weaving behind all those glue walls. Back is the National does take out GeekFam off screen as Dua Berade gets eliminated by No Escape Umbrella. We are down to just 6 teams, AJ, and look at where Freedom Rumble is. In the house with all 4 members alive, waiting for an enemy.
Yeah, Blacklist International still alive and kicking, and Epic just below the bridge. They have to now make a play, but they will be very distracted by the players of Blacklist International, who are just pinning them down, and Team Princess won't be able to do much in here as well, because Blacklist International fighting down two teams all at the same time, and they're just making a lot of noise in here, and they can most definitely afford to do that as they hold on to the edge of the next safe zone. It is the other teams that have to come in here and approach their compound, Husky.
And you can see Ali, just great snipes from afar. Team Princess have no choice but to try and take on Blacklist International, but they did have the help of Freedom Rumble. Ali still kills off Alpha XR, but Blacklist International most likely won't be able to get Ali back up thanks to Freedom Rumble's intervention from afar. Blacklist International are still in the circle, but being the center of attention probably isn't the best position to be in right now, as No Escape Umbrella cast able to get a free knockdown onto Lux, and that is going to be point number 4 for No Escape Umbrella as they all slowly creep towards the safe zone and creep into the circle. Cobra just got a quadra kill. Epic just goes down. Grenade bouncing back and forth, left and right. Clowns let's get one. Neptune follows up as well. We're down to 3 teams as No Escape Umbrella will be the one who is in the crosshairs of Blacklist International.
Freedom Rumble. Grenade launcher in the hands of Too Fast GG as well, which means it's going to be very difficult for the players of No Escape Umbrella to get out of this situation. Blacklist International needs to be a little careful as well. And now it's going to be the players of Freedom Rumble being forced in by the safe zone. And Blacklist International has got Phoenix taken down. Cass has got a grenade launcher on his end as well. It's going to be the battle of grenade launchers as this breaks down. But Cobra manages to drop down iPads, and he gets taken out from the back by a well-played Neptune. And Too Fast DG hits the grenade launcher. Booyah! Secured.
That wasn't even the grenade launcher. That was the normal nade. He cooked it up and he hit 3 guys with it. Oh, Freedom Rumble, a splendid showing of just why they are the aggressors and why they made it work after so long. First booyah of the league stage. Unfortunately, I can't really read that. But no, the conclusion is Freedom Rumble did a great job, and this is what we like about the team. This is what we love about them. They always put out the results.
Almost getting it in their first matchup in here, and in the second match they did most definitely well for themselves as well, and they secure the booyah on the third game. Speak about consistency on overdrive for Freedom Rumble right now. And one more matchup, if they can bring in the similar type of consistency, perhaps get the top 3 once again, no doubt whatsoever that they will be that #1 ranked team by the time we end the day, because we are at the edge of the day anyway. This is round number 6 coming up our way now, Husky.
Yeah, absolutely. And so far, you know, if we look at the overall standings before match 4 and 5, before match 5 we saw No Escape Umbrella, a Secret Expert in the lead, right? No Escape Umbrella actually also putting on some decent showings, even though they didn't make it towards the end. We do see them every once in a while taking on the best of teams, taking on the challenges, and really taking those initiatives. GigFam this time didn't really make it as far as Blacklist and Freedom Rumble, but that was also because they had to keep fighting multiple teams then and there. And of course, we did see the unfortunate self-destruction with that landmine, so that also threw a wrench into GigFam's plan.
Yeah, it's just a little unfortunate. They most definitely look super rusty right now, man. And I feel like if they are not rusty, if they're just playing it for fakes, I think they're doing it really, really well, because it's quite easy to underestimate the way GeekFam is playing out some of these matches. There's no consistency in some of their plays, except for that previous matchup where they did manage to bag 8 kills for themselves, right? They get to hit hard, but it's not going to be all the time, like Freedom Rumble, who are most definitely on a roll right now. But let's talk a little bit about these players from No Escape Umbrella. This time around, they most definitely had a change of pace in comparison to the previous round, where I think they got like 2 points, 1 point. They really didn't do really well in the previous one, Husky.
Yeah, this is definitely the round where No Escape Umbrella kind of suffered a dip in performance, but that was also because I think the sheer change of pace in terms of games, right? When Group C was involved, it really felt like the Group C were just born to fight. And if you are not ready to fight, if you are a team that prefers to enjoy the scenery, and taking as less fight as possible, you probably are going to have a hard time. And I think No Escape Umbrella didn't really expect this kind of volatility, this kind of explosive opening from these teams, so they got caught off guard, which I think is fine, for No Escape Umbrella's debut. But this will be the highlight for game number 5, and you can see Sorry Raw right off the bat catching Hero with their pants down, getting 4 free kills. Same with Blacklist International. Well, they did lose Miro, but hey, they still made it until the very end and finished second place.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. And this was the fight between the players of Argon MY as well as Geek Fam, where Man04 could have, survived a little bit longer if he didn't get overexcited and step out of his compound. And Exact just really couldn't do much as he tried to go in there for that backup as well. And of course, as we jump on to the point, this was the part where Sorry Raw almost got the best play of the whole competition.
Yeah, that could have been a clutch, but you can see towards the very end, he fired both rounds, reloads once, jumps through the glue wall, and misses the very crucial shot. So he had to take the chance, didn't work out. I would say it's a very good attempt nonetheless. He shouldn't feel too bad about it. But this is the tail end of things. Freedom Rumble initially caught in the bad spot, had to funnel their way to get onto the bridge and into No Escape Umbrella as well as Blacklist International. But just like you pointed out early on, AJ, No Escape Umbrella had their own grenade launcher. Blacklist International were torn between who they should fight, and of course it was Cobra who was the last man standing. But against the sheer force of Freedom Rumble, this was the second time this evening that Cobra had to face the entirety of FRU, and it just didn't go his way.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And, FRU, they will be excited in terms of how well they've been able to maintain this performance, but they keep stepping it up, and they have now raised the bar in here for themselves. They've managed to bag a booyah, and worst case scenario, even if they don't go ahead and keep up this consistency now, they've already done way more than they need to do for themselves in day number 1. But when we look at some of these other teams who really need to step it up, for example, like Sorry Raw, early on, they did open up the matchup with those 4 kills. It was a good start, but it didn't really last them. And they need to find that consistency and perhaps just wane off some of those kills and really focus on bagging some of those placement points for themselves, because it should allow them to go quite the long way. Maybe take a small little, page out of the book of Secret Expert. They maintain their consistency, not really with focusing on those skills, but purely on maneuvering around that safe zone, Husky.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the round standings after match 5. Freedom Rumble with 20 points, of course 12 from the Booyah and 8 from kills, followed by Blacklist International in second place with 18 points. They themselves bagged 10 kills. In third place, we have No Escape Umbrella with 14 points, followed by Team Princess with 11. Epic in 5th place with 10 points, and Sorry Raw alongside Geek Fam both bagged 7 points in contention for 6th place.
Yep, EWG in that 8th spot with the 6 points. Duo Berade with 4 points in that 9th position. Metrics as well as Argon MY, 10th and 11th spot with just 1 point. And Hero this time round with 0 points as they fell to Sorry Raw very, very early on in this particular matchup. And once again, just focusing in on Sorry Raw, 2 points with the placements, 5 points with the kills. It's just not going to do them a lot of favor as they get super aggressive early on in these rounds. And if they can just keep their noses down, keep their heads down long enough to get in towards that final zone, that's going to be more than enough to secure them a spot in the grand finals. The over-aggression can be displayed by some of the other teams, for example, like Freedom Rumble, who more than, once have proven that they can handle their gunfights. Blacklist International overall picking up the most number of kills in this particular lobby. And then it goes out to prove another bit of consistency as well, right? Blacklist most definitely has been on quite the good run in here. Earlier on, picking up the Booyah for themselves. This time, almost getting it done once again. And they're not done. We still have got so much more to expect from them, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. The final matchup of the day, and I think it ended up with a bang, Husky.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is one thing to be good for one season, but it's a totally different ball game to be good for a full year. And I think Blacklist International is one of those examples, right? Regardless of roster changes, regardless of what tournaments they're playing in, you can always expect Blacklist International to be in the top 5 team to qualify for the grand finals and has a good shot of winning the whole thing. At least locally in Malaysia, Blacklist International is always a team to be revered and feared. But as we go into the last match, this is where Group A finally got a taste. That they got to observe Group C play, sure, but they haven't really gotten a taste of what Group C were capable of until just now. So perhaps they can make some last-minute adjustment and actually give Group C a bit of a fight. Because we didn't see any of the Group A teams in that top 6, and it is a bit worrying.
But it's expected, right? We saw it going that way already even before this kicked off, with the vast difference in terms of pressure when Group A was taking on Group B early on itself. And then when Group B went up against Group C, we saw exactly which one of those groups were a little bit more dominant. And yes, we were a little hopeful for even one of these teams to be the kryptonite of a couple of these teams from Group C, but it just was a little bit too hopeful. Sorry Raw has got a great opportunity in terms of the way they can take some of these matches. But once again, if they are a little bit more careful, they can perhaps join Epic at the very top. Kalahari, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to wrap up the day. Let's see if or not Blacklist International will be able to show us why they are known as the masters of this map, as they go in here for the very final match, and perhaps with even a booyah to say that we are most definitely the brand to look out for this time as well.
Yeah, when you talk about Kalahari, Blacklist International is the name that always comes up. It feels like Kalahari might as well just be called Blacklist International's playground at this point. They are just so efficient on this map. They really know their ins and outs. It felt like this map was designed by Blacklist International rather by Garena. Of course, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but also a compliment to Blacklist International in terms of how good they are in maneuvering the map, regardless of the circle, regardless of who they're going up against. They always make it work. As for metrics, they run into Dua Parade and they've already gotten a initial knock, but no kills converted just yet. Rich trying to run away. It seems like kills are happening across the map, but our attention is on metrics, who just lost. Mocha and Troop, they're both bleeding on the ground. Mocha is gonna be the first blood going over to the side of No Escape Umbrella, and because Matrix lost that initial fight, they are going to suffer the wrath of getting potentially knocked out. It is a 3-way fight and Matrix are biting the bitter end of things. Rai was able to turn around and blow Kim's head off, but he's not able to secure a kill just yet. Dua Parade from one side, No Escape Umbrella from the other. Bill takes out Riven, Troop gets down, and Matrix gets annihilated in a blink of an eye. And all of those kill credits goes over to No Escape Umbrella.
Yeah, living true to their name, no escape at all, and Metrics just got sandwiched between these two teams, and they paid attention to the wrong squad. They were trying to take down Dua Barade, whereas No Escape Umbrella had their backs, just not in a good way. And Dua Barade now managing to back away from the situation, and it looks like No Escape will allow them a little bit of breathing space because they themselves need to find a little bit more of those loots, not really overextending, not really trying to force the case, and that's exactly what I love about No Escape Umbrella. Not hungry for those kills, even if they know they can easily overpower some of these other squads. But of course, we jump on over to Argon MY, who are keeping their eyes onto the players of EWG. But for now, Afix only has got this spot onto 2 of those players. So trigger discipline most definitely is there as they try to spot out some of these other players.
Oh, here they come. It's Freedom Rumble in the house. And you know what that means? Zero has to start running. Well, Rizal and Rambo has to start running because the other two have certainly been taken out. Unfortunately, Rambo finds himself trapped on the sniper tower, and Too Fast will just put a bullet in his skull. That would be 3 kills going over to Freedom Rumble in a blink of an eye, and Rizal will just have to run away. There is a car, but he decides that he's better off on foot.
Final match, ending it with a bang. all of the teams got the message right. Sorry Raw now holding on to a high ground, seeing the players of No Escape, and they have to be really careful with some of these shots that they are taking on in here. For example, Imira, she is at the risk of being headshot from those guys down at the bottom there, and she needs to have a little bit of a backup. And the saving grace here is the players of Sorry Raw. This time, they all stick together. So they will be able to put on a lot of pressure to No Escape Umbrella, who very, very conveniently just back away from that compound. They do not want to take another gunfight just yet.
Oh, absolutely not. Not when this is the one last round of the day to rack up some decent points. I mean, you see Blacklist International, they've moved away. They've moved a bit spread out, still at Bayfront, but covering the entirety of that northeastern side. If any team wants to get onto mainland from that area, you have to go to Blacklist International, and we all know that Blacklist International, once they plant their foot down, you have to make them move with force.
Let's see if or not Team Princess will be able to keep up their performance. Earlier on, they picked up the 4th spot with an overall 11 points, which is quite great and quite a huge achievement going up against Group C, right? Sorry Raw, on the other hand, they're quite sorry for their performance of not being able to pick up more, and they are looking for the placements instead of the kills. I hope they're looking for the placements instead of the kills, right? Because they have been quite persistent in terms of going in there for those early engagements, and they've allowed the team of No Escape Umbrella to rotate all the way through and now hold on to the exact same height that they're holding on to. So no more vantage point advantage for the side of Sorry Raw. No kills as well, and I think that's a great thing. If these guys are starved out until the end of the circle, it's a little bit better for them.
Yeah, well, they did take a couple of pot shots at Dua Berade, but thankfully for 2B, they are pretty much top back up. They are a Refinery, and the East Wolf Gang, the Hunters Pack, they are now here at Refinery as well. This is the area of contention that we didn't actually get to see much in the past 2 Kalahari rounds. The circle not really favoring Refinery, but we will finally get to see it play out here, the contention for the high ground in Kalahari in this final round. Now, for Dua Berade, they definitely have a bit more of an advantage because they were there first. EWG will have to move up the stairs. They'll have to find a creative way to try and flush out Dua Berade, but it will definitely be a tough task.
Are they going to be able to finish this off before Freedom Rumble arrives and says hello to everyone? And I believe EWG kind of has gotten wind of the situation already. They back away, and Dua Berade going to get into a lot of trouble right now as Freedom Rumble kind of just rotates right down there below them. And the important thing here is for Dua Berade to not go in and start taking those pot shots against Freedom Rumble as well, because the last thing that they need right now is to be distracted by Freedom Rumble and allow EWG to pick up those free kills off of them. Good trigger discipline, but as I'm saying that, they start that fight off, and Freedom Rumble, thanks to the danger zone, will be able to sneak away, not really needing to pay attention to Dua Berade.
Yeah, completely just runs past to Dua Berade, not having to pay any heed to them. That's going to be good. They can reserve their resources and they are able to continue their journey. And Argon MY, just now, we saw them being really disciplined, being really patient. And as a result of that, they get some info, but they also allow No Escape Umbrella to continue the journey towards the circle, which I think for Argon MY at this point of time is probably the best, since they didn't really show any intention of going for those shots. They just want to make it as far as they can and fight when they are needed.
Yeah, I mean, we can understand where they're coming from. They opened up with a great booyah and then 2 back-to-back, somber rounds where they barely picked up much for themselves. I believe overall in the past 2 rounds, they picked up a collective 7 points, which understandably they would be disappointed with after picking up quite a convincing booyah. They were hyped up to be a team that has improved quite a lot, but the consistency just does not seem to come through from them. But I do like the fact that they were disciplined enough to not take those shots up against No Escape Umbrella moments ago, and they just allowed them to run past them in towards Foundation, right? Pick your fight when you know you are going to be able to get those kills for sure, and Argon MY definitely has it done right. Orin will be able to get a quick knock as well as a kill in here, and Geek Fam opens up quite well. They take on EWG.
Hero, that was the last man from Hero, unfortunately. And no more. 3 of them taken out by Freedom Rumble, and the last one fell in the hands of Geek Fam. Meanwhile, EWG from the high ground. Exec gets shot to the ground. Geek Fam definitely not ready for that, but thankfully, there's no secure kill just yet. They did tag Jay-Z a bit, as Monito will be holding this angle. A very crucial angle as well, because he gets to see most of the Geek Fam members. He's forcing out those blue walls. You can see Geek Fam members scurrying to move from building to building, and so far they are doing pretty well. Now Victory does get knocked outside of the house. Can EWG finish that off? It seems like they were not able to convert any of those kills, any of those knockdowns to kills. So Geek Fam survives the fight another day, and EWG maintain control of this high ground.
Yep, and they have to, be very careful of this high ground that they are holding on to, in case that safe zone just forces them off grounds later on. Victory getting finished off, but the players from the side of Geek Fam, I believe, just running up the top the hill. EWG won't be able to secure a knock from such a distance, and they decide it's a better journey to take that zip line and reposition themselves, getting off of that high ground, which can put them into a lot of trouble in a couple of moments. And Dua Berada is still sitting down at Refinery, making that mistake we do not want to see teams make, and they allow Team Princess to run right past them. Hopefully Dua Berada starts to make a move off from that high ground that they're holding on to, because all of that bird's eye view and information is not going to do them a lot of good once that safe zone starts closing in later on.
Yeah, and the valley that Freedom Rumble and Team Princess used just now to get past Dua Berada is one of the blind spots of Refinery. So Dua Berada, once the teams crosses into the valley, you won't be able to do too much to them. And Dua Berada, they are just sitting still, like we've seen for the past 3-4 minutes. They actually just not making any move. It felt like there was no intention for them to even make any to take any steps. So I'm interested to see how that is going to how things are going to transpire for Dua Berada as the circle closes in more and more. But what we do know is that No Escape Umbrella and Sorry Raw are within close proximity, and with Donkey getting shot, it means that things just got real between Sorry Raw and No Escape Umbrella.
I just realized that Sorry Raw actually got the 6th spot 3 times in a row. I don't know what sort of great consistency that is, but it's consistency nonetheless. Hopefully they find it in themselves to, break away from the 6-point, 7-point, spots and just climb up the leaderboards a little bit more quicker here. Freedom Rumble taking a couple of shots against them, and that's not going to phase them at all, as Sorry Raw have got this opportunity now to take the fight up against EWG. They have to be quick, they have to be careful as well, as Geek Fam is just beyond the corner, but it doesn't look like they're going to be rotating in towards them. So Sorry Raw is in an all right place, but they have to be very wary of EWG as they try to rotate in for the next safe zone.
Yeah, another potential scenario is that EWG will be distracted by Geek Fam, and then maybe Sorry Raw will be able to make some moves. You can see No Escape Umbrella early on. They've already gotten 4 kills. They stole it by taking our metrics out of the hands of Dua Berada, and you can see that Chill just got knocked down by Cobra Blacklist International from long range, even outside the current radar that we're looking at. It was able to get a couple of snipes in. So No Escape Umbrella. Oh, they see a fix as well. Error will take his chances, but Afik was able to get out. Not Error though. Error is going to be dead, and that kill goes over to Cobra.
Smart plays coming through. Sorry Raw. Are they going to be able to survive this as Geek Fam now approaches from the back, albeit just one player, as they focus in on taking the fight up against the players of No Escape Umbrella. That's a good opener with a knockdown onto Bills, but a response onto Jang, and it is going to be quite the heavy hit that's coming through, because iPants manages to flush down Shark as well, and they will be able to secure that kill on him. And Sorry Raw, that was a great start, but a terrible way to wrap things up, as now they allow Bills to get picked up as well, and No Escape Umbrella the bigger winner in that encounter. And Sorry Raw, they have to back away together with Donkey, but the safe zone just not allow them to get anywhere.
And you can see that Donkey, he doesn't really have much place to go only a couple layers of glue wall stands between No Escape Umbrella and the rest of Sorry Raw. Donkey gets brought down. Amira does get a knock onto Bills, and he will find the finisher. So that's some sort of points for Sorry Raw as Donkey desperately tries to crawl to safety, and the fate of Sorry Raw rests between Amira and everyone from No Escape Umbrella, and it is just too much. So No Escape Umbrella, they did lose one member, but they end up wiping the entirety of Sorry Raw. So another 4 points in the bag. The next opponent might just be Geek Fam.
Yeah, let's see if or not Geek Fam will remain with their trigger discipline. They're not making any noise whatsoever, just allowing them to wrap up things right there. And the players from Team Princess, on the other hand, just taking this fight up against Dua Barade. Up top on the roof, they will be joined, two of them together, and Dua Barade will be given the opportunity to heal up. And the players from Freedom Rumble making their exit early on this time. And that just gives way to the players of Blacklist International to finish up the day in that #1 spot, Husky, if they can continue to maintain their consistency at the top.
And you can see that, oh, Phoenix, what a landmine! Onto 3 members of Epic, and they all fall like dominoes. And like you say, Blacklist International continues the onslaught. Dua Barade cleaned up by Jimmy Nyo from the side of Team Princess, as they also have 6 kills in the bag. Blacklist International not really having the best of games. They do get a lot of knocks, but look at it, it's only Phoenix left, trying to take out the members of Epic. And Phoenix, he's going to have some time to heal up. And despite all of the kills that we saw on the kill feed early on, Blacklist International also sustained some sort of casualties. Untitled from EWG having to face off against 2 members from the side of Geek Fam is going to be super hard. Does have the time turner, but it only delays the inevitable as Orin will finish the job. Epic falls as Phoenix will clean up Ashen. Orin also finds Jimmy Nyo from afar as Team Princess, they want to jump down the cliff, but they jump straight into Geek Fam's line of sight, and that is just not a place that Team Princess can easily get out of.
Yeah, this is a big play now coming in from Blacklist International's Phoenix Ladies German Boy Singles. He needs to be able to secure himself quite great placement points here to put the team on that #1 spot. But as I say that, the safe zone will knock him out of the equation. Orin with the takedown onto Jimmy Neo, and now a nade comes through with a beautiful knock onto Era, but they need to be now able to capitalize from this, and they pull out the beat. Orin with the grenade launcher, one more in there, serves it up. Ipants now on the ground. Man04 comes in to finish off things. Knocks down Error as well, gets into their time turner, runs around a couple of circles, ring around the rosy. They cannot find the final player in there, but Geek Fam, they're not too phased about it at all. Finally, Orin does manage to spray him down. Cass goes out and knocks Umbrella, gets taken out of the equation, leaving just 2 teams now on the map. The Argon MY against Geek Fam.
And all those nades just rain through from Argon MY, and Geek Fam, they stood no chance. It was a shower of grenades, just like they were celebrating New Year's Eve. Argon MY celebrates this booyah, a second booyah of day 1. Not as much kills. They played it slow, they played it safe, but they get the job done. Geek Fam though, another amazing performance, making it until the end, but they just could not cross the finish line.
You know, it was a situation where Argon MY could have most definitely gotten taken down early as they came across No Escape Umbrella in this particular lobby, but the trigger discipline remained there, right? Once again, because of the fact that they opened up so well with 1 booyah at the early start of the day when they kicked off their own group. But unfortunately for them, that was followed up by 2 abysmal rounds where they only managed to secure 7 points overall. And now making that comeback in here with yet another booyah for themselves will most definitely put them in the contention for the top 3 spots, Sasuke.
Absolutely, and of course, at least for Group A this time, you have Team Princess kind of making it into the top 6, right? Yeah. So it's not fully dominated by Group C, but majority of the standings, of the good standings, was still taken by Group C. It's like going to a movie theater, going to a cinema, and all the best seats are taken by Group C. So as we draw the curtains to the final round, Group C definitely seems to be the rightful group of death, the strongest group out of all these contenders. And the teams, they definitely put up a statement, regardless of who they're up against. They just want to make a statement that they are the teams to watch out for.
Absolutely, man. And it looks like Team Princess just does slightly better up against Group C rather than going up against Group B. And this is a very interesting find because Team Princess was just not really finding their not really finding their momentum when they were taking it up against Group B, right? But now we seem to see them consistently getting in towards that final zone. Hopefully, they will be able to take some of their plays from these lobbies and apply that against Group B tomorrow in here as well. Because from not being able to hit hard, they most definitely now not being able to prove that they can pick up the booyah, but definitely hang with the big boys in that final zone.
Just barely squeezing into the group, right? I think the big boys, they are still a very tight-knit circle. It's very hard to break into it, but some teams have tried. They still got shoved away in the end, but at least we see them draw some blood from these titans. Though it's gonna take a while before before Group A or Group B finds a solution to break apart Group C and to show us that Group C is actually more vulnerable than they portray themselves to be. But let's take a look at the highlights from round number 6, the finale of day 1 of FFCM. There's no better way to close out the day. We had a good opening. We had a good ending. So I guess it is a wonderful day for Free Fire.
Yeah, the request was for game number 6 to be closed off with a bang, and it most definitely came down to that, right? And Epic had a great opportunity to take down Blacklist International. That was a fight that we weren't able to catch, but it was all about the plays of those strip mine and just a little bit of bad luck on Epic's side. But they did manage to hit back quite hard against Blacklist International as well, which put them in a very tough spot. And that just it disallowed Blacklist from going anywhere near the booyah this time round. Geek Fam, on the other hand, they ran in with an opportunity to pick up the booyah for themselves, but the nades came flying through Kobe after Kobe, and they just couldn't fight against that. Spark brought that shotgun and just finished off that very final moment. But it was no escape umbrella, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that we were talking about, that just climbed up to that number 1 spot because of their dominant kill points, 17 overall. And of course, right there behind them is Geek Fam, who were not the ones who picked up the booyah. And Argon MY, like we talked about, they were taking the very slow approach, really focusing on the placements, not picking up those kills for themselves. They fall into the 3rd position with 15 points, Sasuke.
Yeah, but overall, it is kind of an expected result for Argon MY. Following behind Argon MY is Team Princess with 13 points. And after that, we have Blacklist International with 11 in 5th place. 6th and 7 will be EWG and Epic. Freedom Rumble this time, a slower round, in 8th place with 6 points. Dua Berade in 9th place with 4 points. Soy Raw only bagging 2, placing themselves in 10th place. And Hero plus Metrics, they both walk away with none. Definitely a sad one for Hero. The last 2 rounds have not been kind at all to these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just looks like Team Princess is not phased by Group C at all. Yes, we do see some of them, in fact, 3 of them picking up the top 3 ranks in here. But Team Princess is really hanging with the best. And Epic, we expected them to be able to show up a little bit stronger against Group C. But unfortunately, in this final round, a total of 2 kills was all that they could muster. But in terms of those placement, they most definitely were able to remain standing for a little bit longer. If only it wasn't for that takedown that Blacklist International had over them with that 3 kill just with 1 trip mine.
And you have to love it, the performance of all of these teams. This will be the map recap for day number 1. First round Bermuda between A and B. Secret Expert got Bermuda. Icon walked with Kalahari. When we transition to Group B versus Group C, it was Argon MY who kicked things off by winning Bermuda and Blacklist bagging a booyah on the strongest map of Kalahari. And afterwards, round 5 and 6 was between Group A and Group C. Freedom Rumble showed us why they are the most aggressive team ever by getting the booyah on Bermuda, and we close out the day with Argon MY getting their 2nd booyah of the day by winning Kalahari. Overall, it is a good day for a lot of these teams, but definitely slightly more special for Argon MY.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. And And they don't really have to worry too much about that match number 4 and 5 where they couldn't really deliver, because overall they've done enough for themselves to maintain the top 5 run in here. 44 points as they equalize with Geek Fam, who managed to pick the 6th spot. But of course, as we take things up from the top, Blacklist International managing to grab that number 1 spot for themselves with the dominant 31 kills from the day, the most compared to any one of these other squads, and 28 placement points overall for the 59 that allowed them to sit down at the top of the pack. Freedom Rumble very close behind them with the 55 points in the 2nd spot, and of course Secret Expert with the 50 points as they sit in the 3rd place.
Yep, and of course in 4th place, No Escape Umbrella with 47. And just like AJ pointed out, Argon MY and Geek Fam both share 44 points in 5th and 6th spot. Epic in 7th spot with 43. Team Princess lagging behind with 1 point in 8th place. Icon with 32 in 9th spot. Devora with 28 in 10th. Dua Barade share 26 points alongside EWG, taking 11 and 12th place. AKO Steady Squad with 25 points in 13th. Sorry Raw with 21 in 14th place. New Gang with 16 in 15th place. Hero with 10 points in 16th place. Metrics with 9 in 17th, and MND Diehard in dead last with only 5 points. In fact, the amount of kills that Blacklist International has is just 3 kills short of Secret Expert's total placement points. And this is where, AJ, we go back to the point of kills will eventually make the biggest difference. And Blacklist International, they have shown that. And what separates them in Freedom Rumble is just 4 kills. So the competition is on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And Secret Expert, they most definitely can hang, in the top 12 and get into the grand finals with just playing their current strategy. But it's not going to last forever. And if they want to be able to bag the big bucks in the grand finals, they need to find how to refine some of their strategies in here. And the best ways you can do that is by going out there and taking some of those risky fights. But overall, the MVP, the one and only Orin from Geek Fam, with a total of 8 kills and 1 assist, and the hit rate of 58.7 with a total damage of 2,760. Most definitely a player that gave a lot of those opportunities with those openers for Geek Fam.
Yeah, and if you don't remember where Orin was originally from, when he showed up in FFMC, he was with Legend. He was the guy who was driving around with a bike, and we were wondering, what was this guy trying to do? And afterwards, during MCP Season 2, he went over to Freedom Rumble, put out a spectacle of a show, and now he is with Geek Fam, one of the resident kings, one of the teams who has won the crown before. So the progression of this player has been amazing, and rightfully so. He deserves to be the MVP and take the spotlight for map 5 and 6.
Yeah, to be acquired by a big brand like Geek Fam, you most definitely need to go out there and prove yourself. And Oren most definitely has done that all throughout his journey here in Free Fire. And at the Challengers Malaysia Season 1, he has gotten that done once again. Which one of these teams managed to grab your heart? Did the team that you came in here to support perform in the way you wanted? Or did you happen to fall in love with a brand new squad? Let us know in the comment section. And by the way, if you did not like or share the stream just yet, now is your opportunity to do so. Although we are going to end the show, your like and share most definitely will help us to reach a bigger audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, it is time for me to kind of shamelessly plug myself. You know, if you want to follow me, it's @Husky. If you want to follow AJ, it is the Mustachio Gamer, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, so yeah, I still remember it. So with that being said, I mean, it's a great day one. I do enjoy all of these matches. Obviously, the teams at the top of the leaderboard are kind of expected, but it also gave us a new perspective on who are the potential contenders, right? Same as every league, there is always going to be that one bright star and a couple of dark horses that kind of catches your attention every now and then. But just based off of the first 6 rounds, I think Epic, Icon, Secret Expert, and a bit of Team Princess are now on my radar.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Team Princess for sure. Epic, they had quite an all-right start, but they just waned up towards the end, right? But Team Princess, they were the ones who were maintaining their consistency all throughout, not really impressing us by getting the top 3 or bagging the booyah for themselves, but more towards just focusing on really sneaking in towards that final zone and handling some of those fights in that in situations where people just wouldn't have expected them to be in, right? And they continuously risk their life, not at the early stages of the game, but only when they know they've secured enough for themselves. But just like No Escape Umbrella, Secret Expert, they have to understand that that strategy isn't really going to be bringing them very far. And teams like Devora, Dua Berade, who are very aggressive with those kills, it's just a matter of time before they really start hitting Husky. I mean, it's just budding problems at the early stages. Perhaps some of these teams are just taking a little bit long to warm up. But remember how Freedom Rumble were at one point, where they were taking those aggressive maneuvers, but just getting wiped out very early on in the competition. And look where they are right now when they've really hit their stride, right? I expect the exact same from Dua Berade. And they've shown some promise, but just not really delivering out there on the battlefield just yet.
Yeah, it's going to take some time for these guys to kind of align align the strategies and figure out what they want to do. Aside from these newer faces, we even had AKO Steady Squad, who came in with a lot of promises, right? They were led by one of the most prominent players and figures of Free Fire, but somehow it shows that having the best player doesn't necessarily translate to the best results. And AKO Steady Squad definitely struggle on day one, but there is more to come. This is just the beginning to a new year. Some teams started off the year right, some teams need some time to adjust, but this is the end of the evening. We are going to sign off. My name is Susky. He is the Mustachio AJ. On behalf of everyone, thank you guys for tuning in. We will call it a night, and we will see you guys tomorrow, same time at 8 p.m. for day number 2 of Free Fire Challengers Malaysia. Till then, goodbye, good night.
Take
White team, blue team, 2 minutes. Two balloons, two lights. Take your time. Let's go.
Welcome to the new age! Booyah!
Let's go free fire.
Yang menang belanja kereta. Ya.